he is so well. This is the funny part about it. The Christie's accusation in the direction of Vivek Ramaswamy, and this was in part prompted by Vivek's unrelenting whacking away at Nikki Haley, which we'll get to. But let's just focus on Vivek and Christie here.
Okay, you say this. You do this. You do this at every debate. You go out on the stump and you say something. All of us see it on video. We confront you on the debate stage. You say you didn't say it, and then you back away. And I want to say
exactly what I said, Chris.
I'm not done yet.
Well, this
now look.
This is nonsense. This man is spewing. This man is spewing nonsense.
Let me tell you something. This is the fourth debate that you would be voted in the first 20 minutes as the most obnoxious blowhard in America. So shut up for a little while.
I'm going to respond to that.
I want to say
Your version of we're going to let you respond to that. We're going to let you respond to that.
I'll take that.
I want to say something else. We're now 25 minutes into this debate.
There we go.
And he has insulted Nikki Haley's basic intelligence, not her positions, her basic intelligence. She doesn't know regions. She wouldn't be able to find something on a map that his 3-year-old could find. Look, if you want to disagree on issues, that's fine. And Nikki and I disagree on some issues. But I'll tell you this, I've known her for 12 years, which is longer than he's even started to vote in the Republican primary. And while we disagree about some issues and we disagree about who should be president of the United States, what we don't disagree on is this is a smart, accomplished woman, and you should stop insulting her.
So I'm going to take this. I'm going to take several times over.
This is my hero.
I think we just learned something from Chris Christie. We learned 3 things.
Turn around, bride. Chris Christie.
Every now and then I fall apart. He's my hero.
He rallied to defend poor, defenseless Nikki Haley.
She did look a little, she looked a little downtrodden yesterday, but that was actually my favorite part of the debate.
Well,
when he stuck up for his woman.
Oh, yeah, right.
She's mine.
Yeah.
And
by the way, the underlying assertion that he made that he's attacking her intelligence and stuff, actually, Ramaswamy, even if you find him to be an obnoxious blowhard, he is saying some things that are true or certainly legitimate and based on a substantive assessment of Nikki Haley's views and Chris Christie's views, by the way, because he often coupled the two of them, much like Chris Christie did. So you knew Ramaswamy was going to respond after most obnoxious blowhard in America, and he did.
We learned 3 things right there. First of all, Chris Christie also doesn't know what provinces in eastern Ukraine he actually wants us to fight for. Chris, your version of foreign policy experience was closing a bridge from New Jersey to New York. Yeah. So do everybody a favor. Just walk yourself off that stage, enjoy a nice meal, and get the hell out of this.
Oh, no, you did not fat-shame my man.
I think if you're going to actually send your sons and daughters to go die in somebody else's war, you better, excuse me, Chris, I'm speaking, and I'm not done yet.
I haven't heard a time when you aren't
and we're going to be
speaking.
done. So listen up to this. If these people want to send your sons and daughters to go die in Ukraine, they've been arguing for it for a year. $200 billion of our taxpayer money sent over. Neither of them could even name for you the provinces that they actually want to protect. And this is the people who have been touting their so-called foreign policy experience. It is intellectual fraud. These people are lying to you, the same people who told you about weapons and mass destruction.
Yeah, that gets to the heart of really what was central to the discussion about geopolitics in last night's debate, which is the sort of the neocons versus the America Firsters. That's really sort of what it came down to, and there was some really good back and forth on the merits in addition to the WWE aspect of the back and forth.
But I love that the moderators let them breathe, like they just let
I agree.
it happen. I'm like, okay, this isn't for. It wasn't about them. It was just about the candidates.
No, I agree. I think that's probably why it was the best debate, is because those moderators did the best job of any of the moderators to date. By the way, just as an aside, the only thing, the obnoxious blowhard line, the only thing Chris Christie knows more about than being an obnoxious blowhard is fried food. For Chris Christie to call someone an obnoxious blowhard, listening to every response from Chris Christie and watching him over the last decade, obnoxious blowhard, it was fun in the beginning of Chris Christie's political career when he was doing battle with the teachers union. but it quickly dissipated into him becoming a caricature of himself, which is what he is now. We'll have more of the substantive piece of last night's debate at 5:38.
And we'll keep taking your text messages. We got a bunch of them here. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Outside this morning, we have 37 degrees. Skies are partly cloudy. And at 5:30, a shooter who killed 3 on the University of Nevada, Las Vegas campus Wednesday was apparently a former college professor. Police add the shooter is deceased and there's no ongoing threat.
Our officers are going unit by unit, building by building, with the university police and the rest of the police officers, firefighters, EMS, and making sure that we don't have any additional victims and or subjects.
The governor, Joe Lombardo, was on scene shortly after.
I had no doubt that the response would be appropriate. It would be swift. It would be quick, to the satisfaction of all the naysayers that we normally experience during critical incidents.
Law enforcement sources say the suspect was a 67-year-old career professor who had unsuccessfully applied for a job at the school. He was killed by police. The Pentagon says all of the military's Osprey aircraft have been grounded after 8 Air Force members died in a crash off the coast of Japan. Besides the Air Force, Navy, and Marine Corps grounding nearly 500 Osprey aircraft, other organizations are as well, after a preliminary investigation of last week's crash indicated a material failure led to the deaths, not a mistake by the crew. 3 Chicago aldermen are calling for the resignations of 7 officials from Mayor Brandon Johnson's administration over the failed Brighton Park migrant campsite. Alderman Anthony Beal, Ray Lopez, and Anthony Napolitano sent a letter to the mayor demanding those involved in the Brighton Park site resign. Ray Lopez.
We cannot allow them to continue to drive policy here in the city of Chicago.
The mayor released a statement saying those defending the work, saying those involved are doing serious work addressing the so-called migrant crisis. A man from Chicago was charged in federal court Wednesday with conspiring to rob armored trucks and ATMs across the Chicago suburbs. According to the FBI, 24-year-old Brian Snyder was charged with conspiracy to commit robbery in a criminal complaint filed in U.S. District Court in Chicago. White Sox chairman Jerry Reinsdorf is fueling speculation franchise could be on the move. Reinsdorf met with Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell during winter meetings this week. Chicago's police watchdog is releasing video of a deadly officer-involved shooting last month in the South Shore community. The Civilian Office of Police Accountability releasing body camera footage of that incident that happened November 6. 3 officers who discharged their weapons will remain on desk duty as that shooting remains under investigation. The Bulls on a 3-game win streak after taking down Charlotte 111-100. Nikola Vucevic with a double-double. Bulls visit San Antonio next. The Yankees swinging a blockbuster baseball deal overnight, acquiring Juan Soto for 4 pitchers and others in a deal that comes right after the baseball winter meetings. Blackhawks will try to snap their 4-game losing skid when they host Anaheim later on tonight. AM 560 news time is 5:34, and we'll have a check of traffic and weather coming up next on AM 560.
Charlie Kirk wants to keep an open mind.
And if we want to win the country, do we want to just we want to just say you weren't with us? No, hold on a second. I think repentance is a beautiful thing if it's sincere. But when somebody acknowledges that they've been making a mistake and now I want to correct it, that sort of humility, I think it's a really great thing.
The Charlie Kirk Show, afternoons at 1, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
It happens every year. Winter. delivering and receiving supplies and getting people where they need to go can be impossible. Keeping your business doors and gates working properly to keep out the extreme weather is a major concern. Your business can't afford a loss of income or productivity. Think ahead this winter and call Industrial Door Company of Chicago, Inc. for your commercial door maintenance and security tune-up now. You can't always plan when your doors break down, and it always seems to come at the least convenient time. Industrial Door Company will ensure your doors, grills, gates, and dock equipment are working to specification and give you advice on how to increase the life of your doors. Go online to see a range of products and services at industrialdoor.com. Call anytime, 847-258-5620. Their team will be there before the extreme cold weather causes financial losses for your company and assist in your time of need. Since 1982, the Industrial Door Company of Chicago, Inc. takes care of your doors so you can take care of business.
So what's the trouble here, mister?
I don't understand what happened. I checked my stuff in Chicago, and when we landed in L.A., I came to baggage claim, and there it was, my $10,000 Canoma analyzer in pieces, completely trashed.
Just the facts, buddy. What did you have it backed in?
Well, just the box it came in, but there was all this foam and thick cardboard. It looks sturdy enough.
That's what they all think, pal, till it's too late.
What am I gonna do now? My boss is gonna kill me.
Here's some good advice for you. The next time you transport anything valuable, put it in a Star case, leading manufacturer of custom reusable shipping cases.
So where do I get a Star case?
Now you're getting smart, bub. You can find everything you need to know to order one direct at starcase.com or call 800-822-STAR, where a friendly, knowledgeable sales engineer will be glad to help you design the custom case you need. That's starcase.com or 800-822-7827.
The holiday season is right around the corner. Give the gift that's hard to wrap but easy to give. Give them a Steel. Visit your local Steel dealer or go to steelusa.com/gift guide.
5:37. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. And we'll start on the Kennedy inbound. Already piling up between Nagel and Montrose, 25 minutes in as you travel from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. This morning, we're also seeing delays on the Dan Ryan brake lights already in the locals between 35th and Roosevelt. And stop-and-go traffic inbound between the Stony Island feeder and the Ryan merge. On the north side of Chicago, Fullerton between Kilpatrick and Costner is completely shut down due to a fatal accident that occurred in the overnight hours. They're repairing a series of poles that were struck and knocked over during that accident in the Hermosa neighborhood. Traffic, a service of Salem Surround, a local digital marketing agency. Go to surroundchicago.com today. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Sunny to partly cloudy today and mild. 52, clear to partly cloudy and 46 overnight. Currently 37 and partly cloudy at O'Hare, 38 Midway, 33 in Aurora, 37 in Wheeling, and 37 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update is at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We were talking about last night's fourth and final debate before the January 15th Iowa caucus. So you've had a chance to see all the candidates on the trail and on the debate stage. There are four, functionally, there are four left challenging President Trump. I mean, that's sort of how it sets up. And so now that you've had these many months to review the choices, what's yours? If you were an Iowa caucus voter or a New Hampshire primary voter, who would you vote for? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line.
What do you think? Who is I mean, there's no clear winner. I hate when even people ask that question, but who do you think knocked it out of the park yesterday?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think anything occurred yesterday that really
is seismic.
No, I mean, I just don't. I think we found out that Christie is running to sell books and probably make more TV appearances. Towards the end of the debate, he managed to nicely fold in this book on Ronald Reagan he's working on that's due to be released in the coming months or so on and so forth. So that was
Such
interesting.
A snake oil salesman.
I just don't see DeSantis or Nikki Haley being able to, one, separate from the other, and two, present any fundamental challenge to Trump. I mean, again, there's the prospect of a better than expected performance from DeSantis in Iowa. And so that says, well, it's still a race. And then if you get a better than expected performance from Nikki Haley, even if they don't win the caucus in Iowa, the primary in New Hampshire, respectively, if they overperform, we say, well, it's not over. Now we got to go to South Carolina, and that's Nikki Haley's home turf. And maybe, so can they keep it close and whittle away and one fall by the wayside at some point relatively early on, certainly in advance of Super Tuesday? I mean, I just think that is really threading the needle. I just don't see the energy there. That when the big news is a couple billionaires are moving from one candidate to the other candidate, that's not big news at the ground level.
Right.
That's big news inside the bubble.
Bingo.
So I don't think the dynamic has changed very much at all from really the outset of the campaign.
Lots of text messages pouring in. Dan and Amy, from what I heard last night, that wasn't a presidential debate. It was an argument on a grade school playground. I disagree. Dan and Amy's
Well, just on that. I mean, there were those moments. There are always those sorts of moments in debates. But we'll get to some of the more significant back and forth, particularly against the backdrop of the fight going on in Congress right now between Congress and the White House over Ukraine funding. So that wasn't happening in a vacuum when they were arguing. The neocons were arguing with the America Firsters, and it does represent a real division within the party. So I thought that was timely and illustrative.
Another one, if Trump gets nominated, would he select any of those four on stage as his VP?
No.
Okay. Maybe a cabinet position? That's another question that was texted in.
Well, I potentially roles in the administration. Yeah. Maybe Ramaswamy would be the only one who might have some role in the administration.
Yeah, Christie, no. DeSantis, no. Unless they, kiss and make up.
I doubt it.
But definitely
even Haley. Actually, DeSantis had.
What did you think about him? He kind of got lost in the shuffle again. He always does that. He doesn't mean to.
Well, he did have a moment. I thought. Well, I guess maybe we'd take a detour from the geopolitics for a second, because this was good, too. And this goes back to Megyn Kelly putting it to Christie. And then the moment in response to the transing kids argument.
That was great.
Yeah, and the moment that Ron DeSantis had in response to the answer that Christie gave on Follow. So first, Megyn Kelly.
When it's convenient.
Governor Christie. You do not favor a ban on trans medical treatments for minors, saying it's a parental rights issue. The surgeries done on minors involve cutting off body parts at a time when these kids cannot even legally smoke a cigarette. Kids who go from puberty blockers to cross-sex hormones are at a much greater likelihood of winding up sterile. How is it that you think a parent should be able to okay these surgeries, never mind the sterilization of a child? And aren't you way too out of step on this issue to be the Republican nominee?
No, I'm not. Because Republicans believe in less government, not more. In less involvement with government, not more in government involvement in people's lives. And you know what, Megyn? I trust parents. And we're out there saying that we should empower parents in education. We should empower parents to make more decisions about where their kids go to school. I agree. We should empower parents to be teaching the values that they believe in their homes without the government telling them what those values should be. And yet we want to take other parental rights away. I'm sorry. As a father of 4, I believe there is no one who loves my children more than me. There's no one who loves my children more than my wife. There's no one who cares more about their success and health in life than we do. Not some government bureaucrat, not some. You look at these jokers down in Congress. It takes them 3 weeks.
Yeah, blah, 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 off topic.
But you
absolutely disagree with him.
So there's his answer. And this is a divide. That was a divide on stage, too, between Chris Christie and Nikki Haley and DeSantis and Ramaswamy. Nikki Haley, earlier in the week, an interview with, I can't remember who it was, but it doesn't matter. Here's what she said about transing minor children.
Madam Ambassador, another question is what care should be on the table when a 12-year-old child in this country assigned female at birth says, actually, I feel more comfortable living as a boy. What should the law allow the response to be?
Well, I think the law should stay out of it, and I think parents should handle it.
What?
Yeah, that's her
It's
position.
barbaric. I mean, they're children. They should decide when they're 18 years old at the very least.
So they're making the parental authority issue, Christie and Haley. So on Follow, Megyn Kelly puts these guidelines that were promulgated while Christie was governor and then enacted after he left that essentially cut the parents out, like California. They're doing the same thing in New Jersey. Cut the parents out of the decision. Hide what's happening at school from the parents. Now, Christie says that's not true. I didn't approve those guidelines, whatever. That's sort of secondary. Going back to the substance of the issue, Christie versus DeSantis. DeSantis gets to the heart of it.
I stood up every single time for parents to be able to make the decisions for their minor children.
But parents...
Every single time, parents should make those decisions. And by the way, you know what? Every once in a while, parents are going to make decisions that we disagree with. But the minute you start to take those rights away from parents, you don't know that slippery slope, what rights are going to be taken away next, and what's going to be imposed on you.
As a parent, you do not have the right to abuse your kids. This is cutting off their genitals. This is mutilating these minors. These are irreversible procedures, and this is something that other countries in Europe, like Sweden, once they started doing it, they saw it did incalculable damage. They've shut it down.
Yeah. See, that's the fundamental point that Christie and Haley are trying to dance around. Yes, we believe in parental authority, but it's not absolute. Whoever said it was absolute? Governor Christie. Whoever said that? What a silly argument. Slippery slope. Is Munchausen by proxy? Is that a parent living their values and within their authority to abuse their kids? Of course not. No. So the fundamental question is it child abuse? Is mutilating your kid or authorizing the mutilation of your kid is a child abuse? And if it is, then you don't have the authority to do it. But they're trying, both Christie and Haley are trying to dance around it by hiding behind the sort of parental authority.
The government
catchphrase.
should stay out of my raising my children thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Not if it's
I
abuse.
think it's a crime because if it's abuse, I think it's child abuse. So I think that's a crime. Yes.
Well, and that's the divide.
Mm-hmm.
Rich in Indian Park.
Yes, good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy. The one thing I didn't hear in these debates, in any of them, I believe, is that what they're going to do to protect the people in this country and what they're going to do to make life easier for people is everyday life. I don't hear anything about that. All I hear is arguing back and forth how this one is this and this one is that and Trump is this. I don't get it. Why aren't they talking about things like inflation and closing the border? Thanks.
Well,
have a good day.
Thanks, Rich. Well, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about that.
Yeah, there was.
You know, I love when people say, where's your ideas? Well, I mean, first of all, you're confused about what Ron DeSantis' governing agenda is?
I'm not. I did get a little tired of DeSantis talking about COVID, and I thought that would never happen to me. Can I just play this real quick?
Somebody younger. I think when you get up to 80, I don't think it's a job for that. But let me just respond to some of the things there. Look, the media is making a big deal about what he said about some of these comments. I would just remind people that is not how he governed. He didn't even fire Dr. Fauci.
Well, yeah, but that was in response to the whole Trump said I'll only be a dictator on the first day and the Hannity town hall in Davenport the other day, and people trying to make a big deal about it. And then Christie, of course, did make a big deal about it. And DeSantis's point, which is the point that I've been making on this show since Trump was president, is it turns out he was a very conventional president, not rhetorically, but performatively. And in some cases, too conventional. He didn't fire Fauci soon enough or sideline him. He didn't fire Jim Comey. I mean, DeSantis said Ray, but maybe he meant Comey, but it could be Comey and then Ray, even though Ray was a Trump nominee, effectively.
Right,
an
and he
appointee.
didn't go after Hillary Clinton.
But personnel decisions within his administration.
Right.
So all this dictator and Christie, he's telling you who he is. He's telling you what he's about. I mean, it was a laugh line at the Hannity thing. And the quote-unquote being a dictator is exercising his executive power in the direction of the border and energy policy, which he is well within, which any president would be well within their rights to do, as Trump described during that Hannity town hall. It is complete silliness. And Trump is so good at getting a rise out of the media to suck all the oxygen out of the room for everyone else. And that's exactly what he did when he did the whole, no, I'm not going to be a dictator. No, maybe just the first day. That's all they need to lose their minds and aid his effort. I mean, he plays them like a Stradivarius, really.
He knows exactly what he's doing. I love it.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. But just on this, let's talk about the issues. First of all, these guys talk to the blue in the face about the issues, spending and taxing and stuff. I mean, maybe there's not a lot of innovative policy proposals, but DeSantis's governing record in Florida couldn't be more clear, number one. And frankly, Nikki Haley, her time as South Carolina governor, a little bit more controversial. Her time as U.S. ambassador to the UN, the position she has now. Let's talk about some of the substantive positions when it comes to the geopolitics. I mean, yesterday, this was what you were getting from the White House. First, Joe Biden bitching about extreme Republicans, quote unquote, holding up more money for Ukraine.
Extreme Republicans are playing chicken with our national security, holding Ukraine's funding hostage to their extreme partisan border policies.
Yeah, extreme border policies, meaning have a policy that stops the flow of illegal immigration. And then he trotted out NSC spokesman John Kirby to do his duty as a admin apparatchik, giving us the old, if we don't provide this funding and Ukraine falls, then on to the rest of Eastern Europe goes Putin.
And so we can't support Ukraine. Their chief advisor yesterday said they're likely to lose this war if they lose U.S. support. And Putin gets all of Ukraine, then what? Then where does he go? Because right then, he's up against the eastern flank of NATO. And if you think the cost of supporting Ukraine is high now, just imagine how much higher it's going to be, not just in national treasure, but in American blood, if he starts going after one of our NATO allies. Because as the president also said, we take our Article 5 commitments very seriously.
The best part of Biden's appearance yesterday was when they asked him about Hunter's
we'll get to that.
relationship with his business partners.
We'll get to Biden Inc. But on this matter, because it sets up this discussion, this back and forth that was had between the neocons and the America Firsters on that debate stage in Tuscaloosa yesterday. And I mean, here it's sort of a catch-all answer was given by Ramaswamy about not just Ukraine and foreign adventures, but sort of the entirety of the spy apparatus, the so-called deep state. First on Ukraine, Iraq, Afghanistan, in context here.
Is if these people want to send your sons and daughters to go die in Ukraine, they've been arguing for it for a year. $200 billion of our taxpayer money sent over. Neither of them could even name for you the provinces that they actually want to protect. And this is the people who have been touting their so-called foreign policy experience. It is intellectual fraud. These people are lying to you, the same people who told you about weapons and mass destruction in Iraq. To justify that invasion, didn't know the first thing about it, yet they sent thousands of our sons and daughters to go die. The same people who told you the same in Afghanistan, where the Taliban is still in charge 20 years later. $7 trillion of our national debt due to these toxic neocons. You can put lipstick on a Dick Cheney, it is still a fascist neocon.
Thank
and
you,
you gotta
Mr.
see that
Ramaswamy.
today.
Thank you,
It's
Mr.
Dick Cheney
Ramaswamy.
all over again in this party.
I wouldn't go so far as to call Dick Cheney a fascist or anybody on that stage a fascist. That's a little over the top. But the larger point about America's recent record with its, warring in other countries. I mean that this is a major issue given what the Biden administration has wrought, and there's a divided opinion within the Republican ranks.
Got a text message. Dan and Amy, I've watched every debate. I'm a lifelong constitutional conservative. I've never heard Vivek say anything I don't agree with.
Well, and here was essentially his, wrap-up on the neocons.
I think the real enemy is not Donald Trump. It's not even Joe Biden. It is the deep state that at least Donald Trump attempted to take on. And if you want somebody who's going to speak truth to power, then vote for somebody who's going to speak the truth to you. Why am I the only person on the stage, at least, who can say that January 6th now does look like it was an inside job? That the government lied to us for 20 years about Saudi Arabia's involvement in 9/11. That the Great Replacement theory is not some grand right-wing conspiracy theory, but a basic statement of the Democratic Party's platform. That the 2020 election was indeed stolen by big tech. That the 2016 election, the one that Trump won for sure, was also one that was stolen from him by the national security establishment that actually put out the Trump-Russia collusion hoax that they knew was false. There's a reason why I'm the only person on the stage who can say these things. That's what it's going to take, not people who were licking his boots one time and now Monday morning quarterbacking and criticizing when it's convenient.
Governor Christie.
Well, that last piece of it, too. Licking his boots at one time and now Monday morning quarterbacking him. I mean, that's Nikki Haley. Yeah. That's, to some extent, Christie, who, was sucking up to him to be his AG once upon a time.
I remember that back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of text messages. Jeez.
And again, I mean, that they got into it a little bit on big tech, but the censorship industrial complex piece, everything we know from the Twitter files, and I'm just going to continue to drill on this, the reporting just starting last week and into this week from Matt Taibbi and Michael Schellenberger, two men of the left, on this cyber threat intelligence league joint between the spy state in this country and the spy state in the UK. The information they're getting from whistleblowers. This is all extra constitutional, which is to say unconstitutional gambits by, to borrow the phrase, deep state actors. And that needs to be pulled up by its roots. I mean, there is no greater threat than this sort of global left push to restrict people's free speech rights, free thought rights, the free flow of information. Tony, Southside.
Good morning, Amy Lamb. Good morning, Dan. I have a question for you guys. I'll throw this out there. So Biden says that Republicans are playing chicken with our national security but not funding Ukraine. Well, isn't an open porous border with all these millions of people pouring over from all over the world a national security? This guy's an idiot. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, that's the sort of the common sense of it, right? There's urgency behind Ukraine, providing more funding for Ukraine, and there's a lackadaisical attitude towards the border. Oh, we've tried to do something on this. We haven't been able to do something on the border in 13 years. This is what Steny Hoyer said yesterday. So, we're working on it, but Ukraine is where we need to focus our attention. And the country, and certainly most of the Republicans on that stage, maybe all of them in this narrow instance, we're saying, no, we need to focus on the homeland first. We need to gain control of the border, and congressional Republicans are saying, at least in the House, you're not going to flim-flam us by just adding staff without changing the policy to remain in Mexico, changing the policy with respect to asylum seekers, changing the policy with respect to these catch and release the catch and release paradigm that's operative at present. All right, we'll have more on this and other matters at 6:06.
Yeah, but now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
This morning, we're watching a deadline to apply for FEMA assistance. A woman hit and struck by a vehicle in the River North neighborhood, and COPA releases video. WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
4 Trump challengers get another primetime chance to make their case. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
You can't defeat Democrat chaos with Republican chaos. And that's what Donald Trump gives us.
And as Nikki Haley rises in the Republican polls, Ron DeSantis and Vivek Ramaswamy took aim.
She caves anytime the left comes after her, anytime the media comes after her.
The only person more fascist than the Biden regime now is Nikki Haley, who thinks the government should identify every one of those individuals with an ID. That is not freedom. That is fascism.
I love all the attention, fellas. Thank you for that.
Now, Christie defended her and called Ramaswamy an obnoxious blowhard, but also he said former President Trump, the frontrunner who skipped the News Nation debate, is unfit for a second term.
This is an angry, bitter man.
Police are searching the home of the man who shot up the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, killing 3 people, wounding a 4th, going room to room in a campus building.
After like 2 minutes, boom, 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 more shots. So I ran into a basement, and then we were in the basement for like 20 minutes, and I was hearing shots outside, and I was hearing police.
And then the UNLV police officer shot and killed that gunman. Have you checked the calendar? It's December 7th, 82 years after what President Roosevelt called a date which will live in infamy, when Japan attacked us at Pearl Harbor, killing more than 2,400 Americans and dragging us into World War II. 6 survivors will be at a commemoration service today in Hawaii, including Ira Schwab, who's 103 years old.
Still here and be able to bring those memories to the people who are here and were not there then.
It was 2 months ago today when Hamas went on the attack, terrorizing Israel.
No one is the same. Everyone knows someone in the country who was killed, who was injured, who's fighting in the front lines. Everyone is mobilized one way or another.
And Tal Heinrich, spokesperson for Israel's prime minister, tells the Fox News Rundown podcast they will destroy Hamas as the war keeps raging inside Gaza, where Palestinian officials say more than 16,000 people have been killed in the war. America's listening to Fox News.
37 degrees in Chicago, 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. 3 Chicago aldermen are calling for resignations of 7 major officials from Mayor Brandon Johnson's administration over the failed Brighton Park migrant campsite. Alderman Anthony Beal, Ray Lopez, and Anthony Napolitano sent that letter to the mayor demanding those involved resign.
We cannot allow them to continue to drive policy here in the city of Chicago.
The letter comes one day after the governor's office announced the state would not proceed with the migrant base camp at 38th in California over concerns by residents of contamination. That angered Anthony Beal.
The community warned the administration that there were contaminants here, and it was totally ignored.
The mayor's office released a statement defending those involved, saying they're doing serious work addressing the illegal migrant crisis. An Elgin police officer is charged with having child pornography. Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul charged Jordan Collins in DeKalb County Court with 5 counts of possession of child pornography. Collins had been a police officer for 5 years with the Elgin Department. Former NFL player Sergio Brown pleaded not guilty Wednesday to charges of first-degree murder and concealing a homicide in the September death of his mother. Testimony continues in the corruption trial of former Chicago Alderman Ed Burke. A court heard testimony yesterday from a former executive involved in a Southwest Side Burger King. Burke was apparently demanding concessions, and the executive claimed it felt like, quote, a shakedown, end quote. Chicago's police watchdog is releasing a video of a deadly officer-involved shooting last month in the South Shore neighborhood. COPA releasing the incident, a video of the incident that occurred on November 6. All 3 officers who discharged their weapons will remain on desk duty, and the shooting remains under investigation. The Bulls have a 3-game win streak in their hand after taking down Charlotte 111-100. White Sox adding some pitching depth. Team selecting lefty Shane Drone in the Rule 5 draft yesterday. He went 10-7 in the minors. last year with the Red Sox. And the Blackhawks will try to snap their 4-game losing streak when they host Anaheim at the UC tonight. The news, a service of PKF Mueller CPA Professionals, Business, and Financial Advisors. The Mueller CPA team is experienced, committed, and ready to help with record keeping, expense reduction, budgeting, and more. Visit online at pkfmueller.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka wants to know where the women are.
It's just a simple question. The left, the champion of women. Who do they represent today amongst women? Is it only men pretending to be women? Because it's not after the Me Too movement. Jewish women who were raped, in many cases mutilated and afterwards murdered. It's a good question.
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Looking to purchase a new home? Then you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Saving for a down payment is one of the largest challenges borrowers face when purchasing a home. But I have amazing news. Team Hochberg has a new loan program for borrowers who qualify that will enable you to purchase a home with only 1% down and no private mortgage insurance. You heard me. Team Hochberg has a new loan program that will enable borrowers who qualify to purchase a home with only 1% down and no private mortgage insurance. To see if you qualify, call Team Hochberg now at 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of radio listeners secure financing on new homes, but we can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. 855-563-2843 or visit our website 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061.
Don't let everyday aches and pains keep you from living your best life. I don't think I really understood what people meant when they talked about pain until I started feeling it myself. Start feeling better every day with Relief Factor, a daily supplement designed to support your body's fight against aches and pains.
Not only do I move better without pain, I just feel better.
Created by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that target 4 metabolic pathways to address pain. Relief Factor doesn't just mask aches and pains, it helps reduce or even eliminate them.
Today, I do the things I love, and it doesn't occur to me to think about pain.
You can feel the difference all day, every day.
Join the over 1 million people who have tried Relief Factor's 3-week Quick Start Kit. It's only $19.95 and comes with our Feel Better or Your Money Back guarantee. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
If you're self-employed and purchase your own health insurance, I have some great news. From now until January 15th, the health insurance exchanges are open again. And even if you've never qualified for a health insurance subsidy before, you most likely will now. The American Rescue Plan expanded subsidy eligibility to millions of Americans who have never qualified before, even to those with high income levels. And this year, you can purchase a multi-state PPO policy, which includes access to Northwestern Medical Group, as well as other teaching hospitals around the nation. Employers who provide small group coverage also have new options, and so do seniors looking for Medicare supplement coverage. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Obamacare, then you need a local expert on your side. C. Stephen Tucker from HealthInsuranceMentors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 25-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than 10 years. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit HealthInsuranceMentors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551.
6:08. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. We'll start on the Kennedy 35 now. O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. On the Ike, 28 right now, 390 to the old post office. Inbound on the Ike right now, delays melting away between North Avenue and Manheim. They had ongoing road work on the overhead bridge being taken apart on the Tri-State, and that is out of your way. Stevenson inbound 28 from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan inbound 16, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Mostly sunny, mild afternoon high today, 52. Clear to partly cloudy tonight, though 46. Some sun, then cloudy skies tomorrow, the high 57. Morning rain Saturday, otherwise clouds and breezy, the high Saturday at 50. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Currently 37, partly cloudy along Chicago's lakefront. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
And Amy, picking up where we left off at the end of the last hour, talking about last night's Republican presidential debate, but against the backdrop of the fight on the Hill over Ukraine funding, and Ukraine funding tied to some border funding, but not what congressional Republicans want, because if you just add personnel but don't change the policy, you're not going to change what's happening at the border. And what's happening at the border? Yesterday was a record setter.
Oh, no.
More than 12,000 migrant, this is Bill Malugin reporting, more than 12,000 migrant encounters at the southern border yesterday, the highest single-day total ever recorded. This includes more than 10,200 Border Patrol apprehensions of illegal immigrants, among the highest daily totals for Border Patrol ever recorded. And Malugin is on site in Lukeville, Arizona, which is the latest flashpoint.
Yeah, that's the hot spot right now. And they're mostly men. Did you see the video? And then, did you see how the Chinese guys coming over?
Here's what
200.
Malugin had to say.
Here in Lukeville, we are quite literally in the middle of nowhere. 2.5 hours to the closest major city. Thousands are crossing here illegally every day, and the situation is completely unsustainable. We'll step out, give you a look at the scene here. This is a mass of hundreds upon hundreds of people who have crossed the border illegally and are camped out here at the border wall, waiting to be apprehended by Border Patrol. You'll quickly notice these are all single adult men. There is not a single woman or child in this group you're looking at. And these guys are coming in from all over the world. Large amounts of African men from Senegal, from Guinea, from Mauritania, from Egypt, others from the Middle East, others from Asia. This is Border Patrol's Tucson, Arizona sector, which just had 17,500 illegal crossings last week alone. That is the highest weekly total ever recorded.
It just makes me, we are being invaded and nobody cares. Not nobody, but I should say, our administration, our governor, nobody cares. They just need them to become Democratic voters.
Well, Biden says, I'm willing to compromise on border, but he's not, because they won't compromise on the policy change. It's not about the cash. Tom Homan, former acting ICE director under Trump, Mark Morgan, former CBP under Trump, they're all telling you the same thing. Republican politicians saying the same thing. It's not a money issue. I mean, yeah, there's money to construct the wall and so forth, some of the technology and the infrastructure, but it's not a personnel issue. It's a policy issue.
God, if I
there
lived
is no interest in stopping anyone who wants to come in this country and on their own terms and go wherever they want. And of course, that's being facilitated by Greg Abbott's buses. But to that point, there's no consequences from the federal government as per policy.
Did you see that mule? Because there's a crack in Lukeville, Arizona. There's a like a panel or a bar missing in the border wall fence.
It's not missing. It was cut.
Well, cut. But and he's walking people through, taking pictures, because he completed his job, and he looks at the reporter like, oh, well, he literally shrugged his shoulders and then walked away, probably to get more clients. But if I lived there, I used to live there, and I wonder if I'd get arrested, but I'd like to go down there and bring with me a welder and just put that bar back.
Well, I mean,
can't it's
you're the little Dutch boy with your finger in the dike. I mean, it's a policy problem.
I know.
I mean, and so there are proposals again. Remain in Mexico for asylum seekers. What Greg Abbott is doing at the state level, essentially deputizing all law enforcement to detain persons in the country illegally and at least queue them up for deportation. Not to mention Texas's own state-funded infrastructure that is being stood up, the buoys and the walls and so forth. Ron DeSantis yesterday during the debate, agree or disagree, but you can't say there's not being proposals being advanced. Tax repatriated funds from people who come to this country to work, undocumented people that work, and they send money back, tax the repatriated funds, and use that money to construct more border fencing and the like. But I mean so this is where the impasse is. You get where the ruling class's sense of urgency is. It's in Eastern Europe. It's in Ukraine. It's not at the southern border. And this becomes a pretty straightforward binary for the American people. What's it going to be?
Yeah, 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro. Answer line 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
And by the way, as much as we have talked about Europe's civilizational suicide at the hands of their multiculturalism, something that has long been recognized, and even latecomers to it, to the danger, to the fundamental problems that it's engendered, like the recently departed Henry Kissinger, they're starting to appreciate it. Even politicians in Ireland, which has lost its mind. It has its own political ruling class. That we played the debate. It was just sort of a counseling session with all these honky politicians in Ireland talking about whiteness, decrying whiteness. That's the real problem. Well, there's at least one Irish politician who gets it. And this is a conversation that is happening in the West everywhere. And it's the basis for some surprising election results like Geert Wilders in the Netherlands. Listen to Irish Senator Sharon Kehoe on mass migration in Ireland.
Firstly, on Taoiseach's statement yesterday that it is not right to connect immigration with crime is ridiculous. Not all immigrants are created equal, and an immigration policy that does not recognise this will end in disaster and tragedy. We don't record crime statistics by ethnicity, because to do so would offend liberal sensibilities, but other European countries do. The Dutch do. They've done it for 10 years, and here's what they've found. Individuals from non-Western immigration background make up 14% of the population in the Netherlands. However, they commit 40% of all crime and violent assaults. Populations from Africa or the Middle East tend to exhibit rates of 2 to 4 times higher than those of native Dutch. And in both Germany and Spain, the suspect rate of Algerian immigrants for crimes is 10 times that of natives, and in Italy it is 17 times. And Ireland has the largest groups of Algerian asylum seekers in the world being admitted into the country. Asking us not to connect crime to immigration is asking us to ignore reality. These are official statistics published by other EU governments. They are factual and true. Are they hate speech? I fear, Minister, under your new bill, they might well be investigated as such. I have long said that this government would rather receive a pat on the back from Brussels than a clap on the back from the Irish, and that so often we need to get serious issues in this country to attract attentions from the international media before the government will do anything about them, because the government only listens to the media and not to the people. Well, now Ireland has the eyes of the world on it, and they're posed to see how this country is being turned into a post-democratic EU vassal state, which is about to pass censorship legislation, the likes of which we have never seen in the West, so that its government will be protected from the criticism of the people it is elected to govern. Maybe that will give them pause for thought, but I won't hold my breath.
I'll give you another story. It's out of Germany. 15-year-old goes to a party in Hamburg Park. Raped in 4 rounds in the bushes by 9 men.
Oh, God.
While the 9 perpetrators gang raped the girl for 2.5 hours, they filmed themselves.
Oh, please.
None of the perpetrators are expected to show any remorse during the 18-month trial. Verdict is announced. Of the 9 rapists, only one has to go to prison, and that's for 2 years and 9 months. The 8 others receive suspended or pre-parole sentences.
What? Would they have the Safety Act over there, too?
Well, wait for it.
Okay.
A female psychiatrist testifying on behalf of the defendants argued that their alleged gang rape was a, quote, means of releasing frustration and anger, unquote, stemming from their, quote, migration experiences and sociocultural homelessness. So now being a migrant is
stressful.
Is licensed to commit rape in the West.
Because you have to relieve stress, because it's a very stressful situation.
They're socio-culturally homeless.
Oh, there's a place in hell for that woman.
A
I hope she gets raped, and I never say that, but that kind of comment and that stupidity and that kind of empathy she's having, which is so wrong, I hope something happens to her, and then we'll see how she feels about that.
Germany.
Good God.
Right. This is the Germany's not welcoming enough.
Ugh.
So, I mean, this is the mentality you have with ruling class in the West. And that includes right here in Chicago and right here in Illinois with BLM Brandon and Governor Spalding and the political ruling class that we all have sent to Springfield. It certainly includes the attitude that you've seen play out in the real world, the consequences that comes out of the Biden administration. That's where it's at. John in Elkhorn, Wisconsin.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. My concern with all these illegal single military age men coming into this country is, what if the Biden administration is creating a military force that would have no allegiance to the United States to come after American citizens that may be MAGA?
Well, I mean, why do you need a foreign force to do that? You have the FBI. You have the Department of Justice. You have the U.S. military. Your very own, well, not yours, you're in Wisconsin. Our very own Senators Duckworth and Durbin want to provide a path for the undocumented people in this country illegally to serve in the military and gain citizenship. Clay, Libertyville.
Morning, Dan and Amy. Amy, I'm willing to take you up on your offer. I'm a certified welder. If you fly me down to, or hell, I'll even fly my own self down to the border. You find me steel, you find me a welder, I'll weld the fence back together.
I'm just surprised because I live down there and there's a lot of patriots and a lot of true Americans. I'm very surprised that they haven't tried yet.
Yeah, I don't know.
Unless they get stopped. But yeah, I'll let you know when we take our road trip.
We'll even slap an AM 560 sticker on it. As for the debate, I'd rather watch a Christmas movie with Reese Witherspoon.
Wow,
watching
that's
another, and that's exactly what I did last night. My wife and I didn't even turn on the Republican debate. We turned on 4 Christmases with Reese Witherspoon and Vince Vaughn last night. I'm not going to give those people a waste of my energy at all. They're all terrible. They are all just corrupt, terrible people. And as for the border, it's pretty simple. These people want you dead. And when I say people, I mean politicians. They want you dead. They want you raped. If any of them actually cared at all about our border, it would have been handled already. We still wouldn't be putting around the whole thing. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
And of course, Nikki Haley, she got hit on this last night's debate. She wants to defer to corporate America to drive our immigration policy. And I'm not opposed to a worker program, a foreign worker program, as we've had in our country in the past. But here again, this complicating factor that people on the left can't seem to understand or don't want to. There needs to be a process by which we do that. It needs to be under color of law. It needs to be organized and accounted for. It can't be throw open the gates and let's see how it works out. Because Microsoft needs this and Apple needs that. Mm-hmm. No. First, you get control of the border. You move to expel people here illegally. The only area where maybe I would be open to more personnel is the administrative judges, the immigration judges that need to process these caseloads faster to make determinations on asylum more quickly. Okay, fine. And then we're moving people along. Ramaswami, during the debate, again, last night, people saying, oh, there's nothing proposed. Well, there's been a lot of detail on this. Suggests something like scaling what Greg Abbott is doing in Texas nationally in terms of deputizing effectively domestic law enforcement to aid in the capture of people in this country illegally. And my priority would be, as I've said for years and years and years, and it really highlights just how uninterested the political ruling class is, how unserious the American people are on this. People in this country have committed crimes. People in this country have committed violent crimes, Class X felonies, and are still here or have been sent back to their country of origin, and then they're back in. I mean, you're so indifferent to public safety and national security that you don't even care foreign nationals who are been convicted of committing Class X felonies. When we're talking about thousands that are on American soil. If you can't accomplish that task, then we have nothing to talk about anything else, about Ukraine funding or guest worker programs or anything else. Show me you can do that as a good faith effort, and then let's have a conversation about the bigger, better deal. But we're not going to do this thing that the Chicago Public School, the Chicago Teachers Union does. We're not going to try to improve the education anywhere until we can improve the education everywhere. This is a rescue operation. You try to do as much as you can, as quickly as you can, for as many as you can. It's a situation in K through 12 government schools, and it's a situation at the border and in our country writ large.
This text message, Dan and Amy, when will someone say that the money for Ukraine is to keep the shenanigans the Bidens got away with quiet?
Kurt in Lamont, Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, hi, Dan and Amy. Thanks for taking the call. The two examples. So first of all, I think it's clear to people that this isn't accidental. It's sort of planned. It's a conveyor belt that's been set up by the governments, by the NGOs. And so this is what...
It's ideological, right. Exactly.
Exactly. And the way that they try to deal with this, of course, is to shut up the people. So they're imposing anarcho-tyranny, basically. So the two examples that you gave, in Germany, they're not prosecuting crimes or basically giving someone who commits a heinous crime a slap on the wrist. And in Ireland, they're criminalizing speech.
Yeah.
So that's the way that they think they're going to control this, but I think it's going to backfire.
Thanks for the call, Kurt. Well, it's starting to. It seems to be. Places like the Netherlands. We'll see if it backfires in the U.S. next year, I suppose. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. You have a true partnership with a team that is invested in your success. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Kevin Bastuga, co-founder of Signature Bank. There's no better place to be for the holidays than Chicago. Signature Bank is wishing you a safe, healthy, and happy holiday season.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality this holiday season. Visit signaturebank.bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
And this is Brian Duncan, co-founder of Signature Bank. We wish you the very best this holiday season from Signature Bank, Chicago's business bank.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality this holiday season. Visit signaturebank.bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Oh, yeah. This sounds like that Saturday Night Live skit, A Blank in a Box. But anywho, We have something for that escalated quickly, didn't it, Dan? Dan, do you have someone special in your life? If you do, may I recommend giving her a pajamagram at pajamagram.com. Go there and you can peruse all the luxurious presents they have. We're promoting the smooth seduction satin nightie and robe, plus a free satin eye mask, all wrapped in an elegant satin keepsake bag. It is called the Smooth Seduction Satin Gift Set. Oh, that's clever. And it's your ticket to a very nice winter season. It's a gift that keeps on giving. So do not wait because it will sell out. They always do. Go to pajamagram.com today and get the Smooth Seduction Satin Nightie, robe, eye mask, and keepsake bag. Pajamagram.com, pajamagram.com, and tell them Dan and Amy sent you. Oh, yeah.
Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson here, and if you're a small business owner or you make the marketing or advertising decisions for a business, then this message is for you.
Our annual Food for the Poor campaign is underway, and this year we're helping to raise money for children and their families in Latin America and the Caribbean who are desperate for access to food.
Millions of people, including many children, are suffering during this season of economic decline, unemployment, and rising food prices.
Here's how you and your business can be part of the solution. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor. Just make a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor, and AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you.
It's the best deal in all of Chicago radio.
Just call Anjanette Natowski at 847-472-8951. Again, that's 847-472-8951, or go to 560theanswer.com/food for the poor.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy Lee Gifford, and I've been blessed to have a wonderful career for a lot of years. People still come up to me all the time, and they go, "How are you, Kathy Lee? How's your va-va-voom?" And I laugh with them, and I tell them, still going strong, still taking my balance of nature every day, and telling all my friends and loved ones to do the same. Because it's balance of nature, changing the world, one life at a time.
Celebrate Christmas with us. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this exclusive holiday offer by using discount code KLG.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 6:36, we'll talk more POTUS politics with Selena Zito. And at 7:07, stay tuned for this. Notorious Chicago police officer and convicted felon Jerry Finnegan. He is the subject of a new podcast, and he joins us to talk about that.
All right, can't wait. But now let's head into that newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Maybe outside we have 37 degrees at 6:32 on AM 560, The Answer. We're watching developments this morning in Las Vegas, where the shooter who killed 3 and injured another at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, was apparently a college professor.
Our officers are going unit by unit, building by building, with the university police and the rest of the police officers, firefighters, EMS, and making sure that we don't have any additional victims and or subjects.
Law enforcement sources say the suspect was a 67-year-old career college professor who had unsuccessfully applied for a new job at the school. Republican candidates for president clashed on the debate stage in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. During the debate on News Nation, former New Jersey Governor Christie slammed Vivek Ramaswamy for piling on former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley.
He has insulted Nikki Haley's basic intelligence, not her positions, her basic intelligence.
Ramaswamy took aim at Haley early on in the debate as she's been gaining some momentum in recent polls. Former Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy says he'll resign from Congress at year's end.
This comes after McCarthy was the first Speaker of the House to be ousted from power in the middle of their congressional term. He was ousted by a small minority of conservative Republicans. In an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal, McCarthy said he's decided to leave the House to serve America in new ways. I'm Mark Mayfield.
The opening bell rings this morning on Wall Street after stocks closed lower yesterday, coming after Wednesday's release of the ADP jobs report showing private payrolls did rise by 103,000 in November. 4 have been arrested this morning after a police chase in Chicago that ended in a crash in Chicago's Brighton Park neighborhood. Illinois State Police say troopers pursued the vehicle at speeds hitting over 100 miles an hour at times. 4 suspects were taken into custody, including one who tried to get away before being caught by a canine. Chicago's handling of the illegal migrant crisis will be on the agenda at today's Chicago City Council meeting. 3 Chicago aldermen are calling for resignations of 7 officials from Mayor Brandon Johnson's administration over the failed Brighton Park migrant campsite. Alderman Anthony Beal, Anthony Napolitano, and Ray Lopez.
We cannot allow them to continue to drive policy here in the city of Chicago.
Meantime, the Archdiocese of Chicago says it's working on a lease to house about 300 migrants in the now-shuttered St. Bartholomew School. An Elgin police officer is charged with having child pornography. Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul charged Jordan Collins in DeKalb County Circuit Court with 5 counts of possession of child pornography. Collins had been a police officer for 5 years with the Elgin Department. Chicago sports. Bulls are on a 3-game win streak after taking down the Hornets 111-100. Yankees swing a blockbuster baseball deal. Bronx Bombers acquiring outfielder Juan Soto from San Diego for 4 pitchers and other staff. The Blackhawks will try to snap their 4-game losing skid tonight when they host Anaheim at the UC. College basketball last night. Illinois State snuck past Northern Kentucky. Valparaiso was edged by the Chippewas of Central Michigan, and DePaul was routed by number 19 Texas A&M. We'll have a check of traffic and weather coming up next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher is appalled by what's happening.
Where are all the activists in the Me Too army? Why aren't women's rights advocates enraged about the brutality of these women? Could it be because they're Jewish women who were brutalized? Could it be that Jewish lives don't matter? Are you seeing what's going on in America?
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
You can't live forever, but your legacy can. For over 185 years, families have trusted Catholic Cemeteries of Chicago with 47 locations throughout Cook and Lake counties to set their legacies in stone. A prepaid cemetery plan locks in today's prices and safeguards against rising inflation. Visit CatholicCemeteryChicago.org or call 708-236-5490 to schedule a free consultation today.
Rick Borick, host of Unleash Your Wealth.
When the stock market struggles, when inflation is high, you need to start looking through the inventory of all your accounts and say, is every one of these investments working as hard as it could be? Because every month during high inflation that you waste, you're losing 8 or 9% a year.
Unleash Your Wealth, Saturday at 7 a.m. and our new time at 2 p.m. here on AM 560, The Answer.
You've heard Rumpke's Garage commercials on AM 560, and now they specialize in servicing Sprinters and light-duty diesels. But the experts at Rumpke's also service Isuzu and Chevy low-cab forward trucks. So if you own an Isuzu or Chevy low-cab forward truck but aren't sure where to get it repaired, take it to Rumpke's Garage, your #1 dealer alternative for repairs to your Isuzu NPR, Isuzu F-Series, or Chevy low-cab forward truck. Whether gas or diesel, your truck is the lifeline of your business. That's why Rumpke's Garage offers free loaners while your truck is being serviced. They'll even pick up and deliver for your convenience. Remke's Garage has the factory scan tool to properly diagnose Isuzu and Chevy low cab forward trucks. Their commitment to your business is backed with a complimentary maintenance plan and free 2-year warranty. Go to remkesgarage.com to learn more about their specialization in Isuzu and Chevy low cab forward trucks and schedule your appointment today. That's Remkes, REMKES, garage.com.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy Lee Gifford, and I've been blessed to have a wonderful career for a lot of years. People still come up to me all the time, and they go, "How are you, Kathy Lee? How's your va-va-voom?" And I laugh with them, and I tell them, still going strong, still taking my balance of nature every day, and telling all my friends and loved ones to do the same. Because it's balance of nature, changing the world, one life at a time.
Celebrate Christmas with us. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order plus a free fiber and spice supplement with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this exclusive holiday offer by using discount code KLG.
The holiday season is right around the corner. Give the gift that's hard to wrap, but easy to give. Give them a Stihl. Visit your local Stihl dealer or go to stihlusa.com/gift guide.
640 on AM 560, The Answer. Sunrise over Chicago and Team Hochberg Traffic Center time will start in Elmwood Park, where 73rd Court between Diversey and Wellington is completely shut down due to firefighters from Elmwood Park battling a structure fire there. Tri-State, you're jammed up northbound already. Tap of the brakes right at the Stevenson, the Bishop Ford stop and go 115th into the Ryan merge. The Ryan itself is jammed up as well. 22 into the Burns Circle interchange, especially in the inbound lanes. I-55 with an accident reported. Right lane blocked. Southbound 55 at Route 126 involving at least a pair of semis. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Sunny to partly cloudy today, mild high 52, clear to partly cloudy and 46 overnight. Currently partly cloudy and 37. Next news update is at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Whatever you think of Vivek Ramaswamy, I don't think Nikki Haley had a good debate performance last night.
She looked like a victim. She just looked quiet and demeanor. I don't know, it was not good at all for her.
Yeah, maybe the approach is if the feeling is that Ramaswamy is coming off as too aggressive, then it's better to say less and let him generate empathy for you. But on the merits of some things, a bit problematic, like her attempting to recast her call to eliminate anonymity on social media. And both Ramaswamy and DeSantis pounced.
We do not need freedom of speech for Russians and Iranians and Hamas. We need social media companies to go and fight back on all of these bots that are happening. That's what I said. As a mom, do I think that social media would be more civil if we went and had people's names next to that? Yes, I do think that, because I think we've got too much cyberbullying. I think we've got child pornography and all of those things. But having said that, I never said government should go and require anyone's name.
That's false. She said, I want your name. She as President of the United States, her first day in office, she said, one of the first things I'm going to do.
I said we were going to get the millions of bots.
She wants government ID to dox every American. That's what she said. You can roll the tape. She said, I want your name. And that was going to be one of the first things she did in office. And then she got real serious blowback, and understandably so, because it'd be a massive expansion of government. We have anonymous speech. The Federalist Papers were written with anonymous writers. Jay, Madison, and Hamilton, they went under Publius. It's something that's important, and especially given how conservatives have been attacked and they've lost jobs and they've been canceled. You know the regime would use that to weaponize that against our own people.
Okay.
It was a bad idea, and she should own up to it.
Yeah, DeSantis got the better of that exchange because he's right in terms of the impact. He's also right in terms of what Haley said. Here's what Nikki Haley said on Harris Faulkner's show on Fox on the topic.
When I get into office, the first thing we have to do, social media accounts, social media companies, they have to show America their algorithms. Let us see why they're pushing what they're pushing. The second thing is every person on social media should be verified by their name. That's, first of all, it's a national security threat. When you do that, all of a sudden people have to stand by what they say, and it gets rid of the Russian bots, the Iranian bots, and the Chinese bots. And then you're going to get some civility when people know their name is next to what they say.
Accountability.
And they know their pastor and their family member is going to see it. It's going to help our kids, and it's going to help our country.
So she tried to recast it in the debate as just about eliminating Russian bots and so forth, but that's not what she said. And she is saying, as president, the first and second things I'm going to do are these things. Well, that's the government. So she's not saying it would be a good idea, something that we should promote culturally. No, she's saying the government is going to impose, in furtherance of eliminating anonymity. That's not.
She tried to walk it back. It didn't work.
And then the other thing, too, I mean, just a bizarre sort of statement she made, sticking on the social media topic, when the conversation turned to the rise in anti-Semitism. That's been well documented. We've talked about quite a bit. It's only been ratcheted up after that ghastly testimony from Ivy League presidents the other day before a congressional committee. But she said this about TikTok.
We really do need to ban TikTok once and for all. And let me tell you why. For every 30 minutes that someone watches TikTok, every day, they become 17% more anti-Semitic, more pro-Hamas based on doing that. We now know that 50% of adults 18 to 25 think that Hamas was warranted in what they did with Israel. That's a problem.
Well,
she blames it on TikTok. Okay.
Well, the second data point, about 50%, is based on a survey. We talked about that. The TikTok, and this is not about whether banning TikTok or not in this country is a good idea. It's just making up stuff. For every 30 minutes someone is on TikTok every day, they increase their anti-Semitism by 17%. Yeah. What is that?
What study is that from? Is that from Dr. Fauci?
How would you even measure that?
I mean, that was so random.
It's bizarre. It just speaks to somebody who's not in command of their views, maybe. Selena Zito's national political reporter. She's also the author of The Great Revolt, Inside the Populist Coalition, Reshaping American Politics. You can always check out her latest work at selenazito.com. Selena, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. So, give us your handle on the debate. Start with your Siskel and Ebert on Nikki Haley.
So I think that a lot of people went into there was a lot of momentum. There was a lot of stories about Nikki Haley going into the debate last night, right? AFP had endorsed her. And she had been moving up in the polls, bunch of stories about Wall Street's now behind Nikki Haley. So there was this expectation she was going to have a good night. And she did not have a good night. And I think that Ron DeSantis actually had a really golden moment last night. Not one particular thing, but he was even-keeled. He was good on issues. He was good on policy, and he had a tone and a rhythm to him that was consistent. Voters look for that. They don't look for big highs and big lows in their decision making. And so I think if we're looking as a whole at the whole debate, DeSantis had a great night. And I think that was a really tough night for Nikki Haley, because, in particular, because there was all this, sort of juice around her that this was going to be her moment.
And she didn't rise to the occasion.
She did not rise. Did not rise to the occasion.
And she also has to deal with it. I'm sorry. She also has to deal with.
All of us can have. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well,
Selena.
I think all of us can have good, bad nights, but not when you're running for president, right? Everything is on the line every time you're up there. You always have to be on your A game, and she did not bring her A game last night.
Right, and it's at the last debate before the caucus too. So now that's going to be the last impression, to the extent that
exactly.
Yeah, but also too, she had to deal with a junkyard dog named Ramaswamy, and
Christie. I mean, they were both barking over her.
But I mean, Ramaswamy barking at her,
right?
And again, even if you find Ramaswamy too aggressive, as some do, I mean, there was at least some, if not a lot, of truth to what he was saying, the challenge he was issuing, and the competing visions for America between somebody that's more neocon oriented like Haley and Christie, and those that are more America Firster types like Ramaswamy and DeSantis.
Right. And so I think Ramaswamy's challenge is his style.
Right.
He has what is often referred to in political circles as the tech bro style, right? Like, he's sort of, he's aggressive. And there are a lot of things that he says, and you're like, yeah, I could get with that. But he has that same problem that Trump has, in that, yeah, I could get with that, but geez, you have to say it that way.
Yeah.
And do Americans have that the appetite for continuing that sort of more edgy and in your face sort of WWE style? Or are they looking for someone more like DeSantis, who is essentially saying almost all of the same things in a much more, from a position of governing? And I think that there is an appetite among conservative voters that polling hasn't quite tapped into yet, where Republican voters are very much into wanting someone who's going to not take any guff, right? In the mindset of Trump, but not the style of Trump.
Yeah.
But they're also looking for someone who can govern. And I think that's missing in the polling, that the pollsters haven't tapped into. Voters want both of that.
But I don't trust him really on foreign policy, man. Did you hear his answer about he doesn't think that an attack on Israel is an attack on America? And that did not sit well with me last night.
Oh, no. Yeah. Not at all. I mean, I'm agreeing with you, Amy.
Right.
Because our relationships and our identities are very much intertwined, and that was a big misfire.
It sounds to me, Selena, like you're intimating that Ron DeSantis may have some momentum on the ground in Iowa, and since you're one of the few political reporters that actually does the on the ground reporting, you probably know better than most of the rest of the D.C. press corps, looking past the polling. And I'm sensing you think that maybe there's a possibility that Iowa turns out to be at least closer than people anticipate?
See, I have been of the belief, now I haven't been back for 2 weeks, but I'll go right back right after Christmas. And honestly, that's when Iowa voters really start to harden their choices. Remember, when you go into a caucus, you go in there with 4 choices. You don't go in there with 1, because your person, your guy, might not make it. So you've got to have a plan B and a plan C. And Iowa voters, I think, are much more inclined to be supportive of DeSantis than any of the other people that are on stage, including Donald Trump. I think people forget that Donald Trump didn't win there in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And that while evangelical voters, in Iowa, they're not some of Iowa Republican caucus voters. They are all Republican caucus voters. And he has done the due diligence, the job, the handshaking, the going to every county. He's gone to, Iowa voters expect you not to just come to their county. They expect you to come to their living room. And he's done all of that. So I think it's a real test to see, has good old-fashioned retail politics in the way that Don DeSantis has done eclipsed parachuting in and doing a rally and talking about yourself and the airing of the grievances, which is what Trump has become. And evangelical voters are very aspirational. They want to be part of something bigger than themselves. It's not about them. It's about everyone. And to date, that is DeSantis has run on the election being about the voter, whereas Trump has been running on the election being about fulfilling his grievances. It's about him.
The only thing I wonder about that is, has his one of his standard lines that they're not coming after me, they're coming after you, I'm just standing in the way. Sort of, he is the shield and the sword at the same time for the everyman. I wonder how much that has penetrated, though, and so there's a certain level of dismissal as to some of his rhetorical excesses.
Well, I don't disagree with you. However, it takes a coalition to win. I think there's only a portion of the coalition where that has stickiness to it. And you need all of your coalition to be united on that sentiment. And I don't know, I cannot say for certain that is enough for Trump to win Iowa. I mean, he may win Iowa, but I'm just holding back on saying it's inevitable, because when talking to voters, there's there's a nuance there that I think people miss, where I like Trump, or I like Trump's policies, or I like that he had our back. But there's also a part where I'm not going to look in the rearview mirror. I want to look forward. I want someone younger. I'm exhausted. There's a lot of layers of decision making going in there for a voter, and I think that we need to wait till closer to the election before we understand who will win. And even most importantly, right now, is polling has been messed up since Donald Trump became part of the political lexicon. In other words, polling is all over the place. You would have thought in 2020 he was going to win. You would have thought in 2022 Republicans were going to win, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean,
no red wave.
It's still, there's a difference between 30-point spreads and 5-point spreads. But I take your point, and as always, that's why your reporting is so good, is because you're in the milieu talking to people. And so we're going to have to check back with you closer to the caucus to get your handicapping once you're back on the ground in Iowa there. Selena Zito, national political reporter, author of The Great Revolt, Inside the Populist Coalition, Reshaping American Politics. And again, check out her work and the reporting she'll be doing from Iowa as well, specifically. SelenaZito.com is the website. Selena, thanks as always.
Thanks so much. Have a great day, you guys.
You too. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson here. And if you're a small business owner or you make the marketing or advertising decisions for a business, then this message is for you.
Our annual Food for the Poor campaign is underway. And this year we're helping to raise money for children and their families in Latin America and the Caribbean who are desperate for access to food.
Millions of people, including many children, are suffering during this season of economic decline, unemployment, and rising food prices.
Here's how you and your business can be part of the solution. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor. Just make a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor, and AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you.
It's the best deal in all of Chicago radio.
Just call Anjanette Natowski at 847-472-8951. Again, that's 847-472-8951, or go to 560theanswer.com/food for the poor.
The holidays are here again, and it's really getting cold outside. It's time to snuggle up by the fireplace with a delicious mug full of Bob's Belgian hot chocolate. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Each sip is so rich, so luxurious, and oh so chocolatey. Bob makes his hot chocolate with 100% imported Belgian chocolate, and it's so easy to make. You just stir it into hot milk and voila! You just made yourself the best hot chocolate ever. You can buy Bob's Belgian hot chocolate mix and sticks online at bobsbelgianhotchocolate.com or visit us at Chris Kindle Markets at Daily Plaza, Wrigley, and Aurora. Come on out and join in on all of the holiday fun with visitors from all over the world. We can click our glasses and wish each other good cheer with a delicious mug full of Bob's Belgian hot chocolate. Oh my gosh, it's so good. bobsbelgianhotchocolate.com.
AM 560, The Answer. This is Chicago's election station. AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago. Streaming at 560theanswer.com on the AM 560 mobile app, or tell your smart speaker to play The Answer Chicago.
Him and Christie called them out.
My colleagues here raised their hands and said they would support him even if he was a convicted felon. The bigger problem with it is they were confirming the lies he's told to the American people.
And Christie sparred again with Vivek Ramaswamy.
The most obnoxious blowhard in America.
Do everybody a favor. Just walk yourself off that stage, enjoy a nice meal, and get the hell out of this race.
But Ramaswamy spent even more time attacking Nikki Haley in the News Nation debates.
You have a corruption problem, and I think that's what people need to know. Nikki is corrupt.
Ron DeSantis also called out Haley for some of her supporters.
Nikki is meeting with all these people. They want to use economic power to impose a left-wing agenda on this country.
In terms of these donors that are supporting me, they're just jealous. They wish that they were supporting them.
Haley was a target as she rises in the polls, still, though, far back of the former president.
My approach is different. No drama, no vendettas, no whining.
Now, today, the former president returns to New York to again attend the Trump Organization's civil trial, where he denies what the judge already ruled that the company committed fraud in misleading financial transactions. The former president will testify again on Monday. Classes are canceled at the University of Nevada at Las Vegas the day after a gunman shot and killed 3 people and wounded a 4th until police killed him.
It's a very difficult time, and it's time for us, as the adults, enough. It is enough.
Las Vegas Mayor Carolyn Goodwin and President Biden calling for stricter gun laws. 2 months after the Hamas terror attack, Israel keeps waging war in Gaza, and government spokesman Elan Levy says,
"Last night, our forces surrounded terror mastermind Yahya Sinwar's house, a powerful reminder that nowhere is safe for the October 7th monsters."
The UN keeps warning of a humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza. America's listening to Fox News. 37 degrees, partly cloudy skies at 7:02 on AM 560 The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. 4 people were arrested after a police chase in Chicago that ended in a crash in the Brighton Park neighborhood this morning. Illinois State Police say troopers pursued the vehicle with speeds hitting over 100 miles an hour. 4 suspects are in custody. Chicago's handling of the illegal migrant crisis will be on the agenda for today's city council meeting. 3 Chicago aldermen are calling for resignations of 7 officials from Mayor Brandon Johnson's administration over the failed Brighton Park migrant camp site. Ray Lopez, Anthony Napolitano, and Anthony Beal sent a letter to the mayor demanding those involved in the Brighton Park site resign.
The community warned the administration that there were contaminants here, and it was totally ignored.
Meantime, the Archdiocese of Chicago says it's working on a lease to house about 300 migrants or asylum seekers in the shuttered St. Bartholomew School. A man from Chicago was charged in federal court Wednesday with conspiring to rob armored trucks and ATMs across Chicago's suburbs on more than half a dozen occasions. According to the FBI, 24-year-old Brian Snyder was charged with conspiracy to commit robbery in a criminal complaint filed with district court. Former NFL player Sergio Brown pleaded not guilty Wednesday to charges of first-degree murder and concealing a homicide in the September death of his mother, 73-year-old Myrtle Brown. Sharp criticism of Illinois U.S. Senator Dick Durbin in connection with the flight logs to Jeffrey Epstein's private island. Senator Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee publicly called out Durbin for blocking her request to file a subpoena for the flight logs. The plane was allegedly used to fly underage girls to Epstein's Caribbean island. Fox News pursued Durbin about the matter.
Why don't you want to know who was utilizing his private plane?
Never been raised by anyone.
Senator Blackburn has wanted to subpoena them, and there hasn't been a vote in your committee.
Said a word to me, not a word.
Blackburn has called Durbin's actions a sad day in the history of the prestigious Judiciary Committee. Chicago sports. Bulls beat Charlotte 111-100. Tonight, the Blackhawks will try to snap a 4-game losing skid when they host Anaheim. The news, a service of Turnkey.pro. Turnkey knows small business, and their team of veteran consultants knows how to reduce costs and grow new revenue streams, all without having to hire on-site professionals. Visit Turnkey.pro. That's Turnkey.pro. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Brandon Tatum wants Israel to continue.
I think that there's never should be a ceasefire. You know, what is the ultimate goal here? I think Israel's ultimate goal should be to eliminate Hamas and take over Gaza, have complete control in Gaza. In my opinion, that's what I think Israel should do. You're going to have these terrorist attacks and the fear of terrorism forever unless you completely eliminate them and you control that particular government system.
The Officer Tatum Show, weeknights at 7, right before Jay Sekulow at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy Lee Gifford, and I've been blessed to have a wonderful career for a lot of years. People still come up to me all the time, and they go, "How are you, Kathy Lee? How's your va-va-voom?" And I laugh with them and I tell them, still going strong, still taking my balance of nature every day and telling all my friends and loved ones to do the same. Because it's balance of nature, changing the world, one life at a time.
Celebrate Christmas with us. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order plus a free fiber and spice supplement with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this exclusive holiday offer by using discount code KLG.
Don't let everyday aches and pains keep you from living your best life.
I don't think I really understood what people meant when they talked about pain until I started feeling it myself.
Start feeling better every day with Relief Factor, a daily supplement designed to support your body's fight against aches and pains.
Not only do I move better without pain, I just feel better.
Created by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that target 4 metabolic pathways to address pain. Relief Factor doesn't just mask aches and pains, it helps reduce or even eliminate them.
Today, I do the things I love, and it doesn't occur to me to think about pain.
You can feel the difference all day, every day.
Join the over 1 million people who have tried Relief Factor's 3-week Quick Start Kit. It's only $19.95 and comes with our Feel Better or Your Money Back guarantee. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
Homeowners experiencing low water pressure, rusty yellow water, little to no hot water, or pressure so low that showering is difficult?
Honey, don't flush. I'm in the shower.
These are all symptoms of clogged and corroded galvanized water pipes that are filled with gunk older than you. You should see it. It's disgusting. You drink it, brush your teeth with it, and bathe in it. Yuck. For your family's sake, repipe your home with quality PEX or copper pipes from All Affordable Plumbing. We're your local, family-owned and operated repiping expert. We can repipe your home in 1 to 3 days with minimal disturbance, and we include a lifetime guarantee. And for a limited time, we're offering 12-month no-interest, no-payment financing and a free water heater. So if you have low water pressure, call for a free in-home estimate at 800-NEW-PIPE or visit allaffordable.org. That's 800-NEW-PIPE or visit allaffordable.org. If you have low water pressure, a copper repipe will get you flowing again. Call for a free estimate at 800-NEW-PIPE. That's 800-NEW-PIPE.
7:08. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. 34 minutes inbound Edens Lake Cook Road into the junction. A stall inbound on the Kennedy between Austin and Montrose. 66 minutes and climbing on the Kennedy into the Burns Circle interchange. The ICANN, 50 minutes to the old post office. You're on the brakes Manheim to First Avenue. Watch out, Eisenhower outbound. Report of an accident, left lane block. It's outbound between Cicero and Des Plaines Avenue. I-55 has an accident, right lane block. 2 semis involved. It's southbound 55 right at Route 126. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Mild day, lots of sun, high today 52, clear to partly cloudy tonight, though 46. Some sun, then cloudy for tomorrow afternoon, high 57. Morning rain Saturday, otherwise clouds and breezy, high Saturday at 50. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
At 7:09, it's time to call Permaseal, 800-421-SEAL, 7325. Your next news update is at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. When National Review founder William F. Buckley described the convert to conservatism as a liberal who had been mugged by reality.
Oh yeah, I love
he
that.
He didn't mean literally. He meant like intellectually, like I've confronted what is real and I realize that conservatism is more reflective of how the commonsensical person deals with the reality of the human condition. Unfortunately, in Chicago, to get a person to that point, get so many people to that point, it requires a literal mugging. That's the standard. I give you Anthony Driver. Anthony Driver is the president of the Community Commission on Public Safety and Accountability. He is now calling for the Chicago Police Department to relax its restrictions on vehicle pursuits because sharp controls on said pursuits have encouraged robberies by criminals who believe they are unlikely to be chased. Oh, you don't say. You know how Anthony Driver came to this realization?
How?
He was the victim of an armed robbery while walking near his South Side home. 2 teenagers jumped out of a tan SUV, stuck a gun in his abdomen, made off with his wallet. When I was robbed, they had robbed 6 people before me, literally. They pulled up, and when they robbed me, they threw out purses. They dumped the purses in the street, said Driver. I'm hearing from Chicagoans, I'm hearing from police officers and stakeholders that this something needs to be looked at. We can't hide or run from this issue anymore. I don't think there was a lot of public input from either the general public or officers when this policy was created. Oh, really? You don't think so? Where have you been? I mean, I'm glad he's saying something, you know, but I mean, good grief. This is why getting a handle on the rampant violent crime in Chicago is so painstaking. In a bygone era, things were different. Jerry Finnegan is a decorated and notorious former Chicago police officer. He's both decorated and notorious. And how a decorated police officer becomes notorious, well, that's a conversation we're going to have with him. He's the subject of a new podcast called Finnegan's Take. And it's produced by our friend Neil Edelstein, who's a great Hollywood producer. I mean, he's a really good storyteller. Edelstein was on, he was a producer on The Straight Story with David Lynch. David Lynch directed, Richard Farnsworth, Sissy Spacek. I mean, that's one of the most beautiful movies in the last 30 years, as well as he produced The Ring, Mulholland Drive. So now he's produced, he's the interviewer of Jerry Finnegan for this podcast called Finnegan's Take, and it's about crime in Chicago. The first 2 episodes have been released, and because we're friends, we got advance on some of the forthcoming episodes. And it's just interesting to hear Finnegan's take, if you will, on what it used to be like. He was 20 years on CPD starting in 1988. So from the end of the last century to the beginning of this one. Just this little exchange on police chases when he was on the force.
The rule of the street is, and I don't know how that's everywhere else, but in Chicago, if you ran from the police, you got an ass whipping. That's just the way it was, and that was citywide. If you didn't make the police chase you, it went a little easier on you. But if you're running, jumping fences, and getting everybody sweated up, and then you're going to resist, you're going to get an ass whipping. And that's the way it was.
And because this was somewhat the rules of the game.
That's correct.
Most people abided by this knowledge, usually.
Most of the guys, most of the gangbangers, they just took the ass whipping. And that was the end of it. It wasn't personal. So you went in and I mean, you didn't beat them until they had to go to the hospital, but you gave them some punches in the stomach, took them in, and then, you bought them a soda, and, they're going to jail. And, I mean, if they weren't assholes, sometimes, man, I'd buy them a sandwich. I mean, what's the big deal? It wasn't personal. That was the way it was out there. They knew the rules, and they broke the rules, so that's the way it was.
Finnegan's Take, the podcast, can be found on Spotify and Apple. Jerry Finnegan joins us now. Jerry, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Dan and Amy. Good morning, and thanks for having me.
Well, so the obvious question is, how does somebody go from being I mean, you've got awards from ATF, from Cook County Sheriff, from Chicago Police, most illegal guns off the street, multiple years running when you were on the force. So how does somebody go from being that Chicago police officer to a former Chicago police officer who got sentenced to 10 years in federal prison?
Yeah, Dan, I contemplated that very often to myself after the fact, but actually I gave in to greed. We were recovering millions of dollars in illicit drugs and firearms, but the money that we recovered, we never turned in. And kind of like the reasoning, I thought, and the guys I was with said, well, it's dope money. Who is it going to hurt? I'm not taking some woman's money who's an old woman. But really, when it all boils down to it, that was just, to make myself feel better, I guess, because it was illegal. And I wish I would have kept my hands in my pockets because it ruined my career. It was actually the best job I ever had. I loved it.
And the what you ultimately pled out to, though, was so income tax evasion on the stolen money, but also a murder for hire plot.
That's correct. Dan, the show's not long enough, and
yeah, I understand.
Not long enough to explain everything, but truly, I said something I should not have said, but there was no act of furtherance. There was no the supposed hitman that I was looking to hire was a figment of the imagination of the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office. There was nobody involved besides myself. And like I said, it was a dumb thing for me to do, and I regret it. I was not going to plead to that, but my lawyer told me give them their pound of flesh, and it'll go easier for me in court and later in prison where I could go to a camp. But apparently he wasn't truthful about that.
I just wanted to ask, I was working at Channel 5 when that picture came out of you and Tim McDermott, and you're sitting down
Yes.
There's antlers on a black man, and you guys are holding weapons.
Yes.
Who's the black dude in that picture?
Oh, that kid. Yeah, that kid. He was a juvenile at the time, and he was later killed in a drive-by shooting. His brother was the gang leader for the traveling vice lords in the 11th district, LeVar Span, and that gentleman's name, I don't remember the young man's name, his first name, but Span was his last name. Amy, actually, it was like a joke, and it was a bad joke. It was strictly my idea.
Mm-hmm.
I equated us to being hunters, and on that picture I wrote, this 12-point buck was shot on Chicago's Wild Wild West Side.
Yeah, I remember.
There was no racial intent involved in that. If it would have been in a white neighborhood, I would have did it to a white kid. Unfortunately, I didn't work in white neighborhoods. But it was a joke, and probably the worst joke I ever committed.
Well, what did he think about the whole thing? Was he just compliant? You told him to get down? Like, how did that transpire?
Oh yeah, well we took him into the station, Amy. We actually got him with 90 bags of cannabis, on the drug on the scene where he was selling it, and the 600 block of North Avers, his family controlled that area. So I told him if he let me take a picture, that I would let him go, which I did. I didn't charge him with the cannabis. I mean, probably not a good idea, but the thing is, I mean, nothing would happen to him anyway. He was a juvenile.
So, I mean, take us back, the clip I played from a forthcoming episode of your interviews with Neil Edelstein for Finnegan's Take, talking about police chases. Take us back to sort of the good and the bad and the ugly of the era where you were a decorated police officer before things turned. And what lessons maybe, particularly from the good, may need to be revisited with the Chicago police today?
Yeah, Dan, and I would think that, Lisa Madigan enacting the consent decree was the end of policing in Chicago. Coupled with the cameras, the thing is, policemen do not want to be on the front page, be the next person who's indicted for putting their hands on somebody, even if that person is resisting. These cameras out there, these cell phone cameras, they don't tell the whole story. They're only showing little blurbs of what the news and what these people who are taking these videos want to show you. So the police back then, at the time I was the police, we had full autonomy over the city. Legitimately. I mean, you would go in neighborhoods, you would go to war with these guys physically and have to fight with them to take them to jail. Now, there's no respect for the police. You can see that by the crime in Chicago is just completely out of control. I don't know what the police department is going to do to address it. I don't have much confidence in the leadership. I know that superintendent worked in the 7th district. Like I said, I don't know if he's capable of changing things, but he's going to take his marching orders from the 5th floor, and Mayor Johnson is not going to let him come out there and be heavy-handed. And I'm not saying beat people down. Go ahead, Amy.
I'm sorry I interrupted. I thought you were done speaking. But what do you think? Like, there's no foot chase policy, no chasing. What do you think about that? I mean, that was an important tool for you guys back then.
Well, Amy, I mean, I don't know. Obviously, whoever enacted these policies were not the police. They were attorneys that worked for the police department, never worked the street, had office jobs their whole career. Some of these bosses, you cannot police people out here without getting in foot chases. That is absolutely absurd. The same with the vehicle chases. The robberies are out of control here. There was an incident where a 12th district car just within the last couple of weeks got behind a vehicle, called it in. He was a one-man car. 4 guys heavily armed, just committed 6 robberies. His sergeant immediately called that chase off. It wasn't even a chase. He was following the car. So, I mean, if the citizens of Chicago realize that it's very unsafe out there, and the police department have their hands tied as officers, the everyday street guys and women. So I feel very bad for the citizens, and I feel bad for the police because they're not enabled to do their job anymore.
Back when you were on the force, would you say that the pendulum had swung too far in the direction of police autonomy? and now clearly it swung too far in the direction of handcuffing the police and politicians having the autonomy to sort of direct policing, if you will. I mean, or do you look back at the time that you were on the force and say we should cut and paste that time and apply it to today?
I would agree with that because Dan, here's the thing. Back then, like I said, people, the bad guy out there, if you worked in a certain area of the city, you got to know the bad players in your district. And on citywide, I mean, you could come across these hot spots, and you know these guys were out there doing no good. But the problem is, nowadays, and I think previous, that should be brought back. I don't condone beating people. But on the other hand, these individuals out here are committing these crimes. They're not worried about the police doing their jobs anymore because they know the police aren't going to street stop them. They know the police aren't going to stop them in vehicles and go through their vehicles to recover these guns. You have all these individuals out here, even the juveniles, committing robberies. And this is, seriously, when you think about it, it's a conspiracy, and that's what the federal government should come into play here. They conspire to do these robberies.
Back in the day when we had kingpins like Jeff Fort or Larry Hoover, that really had sort of operational, my understanding as a layman, so correct me if I'm wrong, but seemingly had operational control of the distribution of power and turf in the city. Was that what was the relationship like between the police and those gang kingpins, and how is that different from today?
Well, you knew who the leaders were. The leaders weren't in prison. Well, of course, Jeff Fort was and Larry Hoover, but you knew who to go to the next guy. Our gang intelligence would address these guys. They do long-term investigations. I would encounter the guys who were the mid-level, although Wakita Fort was Jeff Fort's son, and I encountered him on a regular basis in the south end of the 9th District. And we used to have a talk, and I would tell him that the shooting's got to stop over here. Dan, you're not going to stop the war on drugs because it's just not going to stop here.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, there's so much violence, and these gangs have splintered off into different factions now. It's hard to get a grasp on who's running what area.
Right, and so, I mean, we had Jody Weiss on the show a few months back, and he was talking about that gang summit that he had when he was CPD superintendent and the criticism he got, but his argument was, basically you have to, it's sort of what you're saying. He didn't quite say it that way, but this is what he was intimating, that, this is the landscape, and I can't fundamentally change the landscape, but what I can do is try and get to the shot callers and get some sort of rules of the game to reduce the violence as much as possible. And if you don't engage them, then you have no chance to do that.
I agreed with that gang summit with Weiss. I did not know the man. I'm not much on a person who comes from the outside to run a police department who does not go up the ranks.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, I think by him meeting with these gang leaders, with his command staff, you can curtail some of the activity out there that they're doing. But the driving force is the drugs, and the money. That's what it is, and that's what's creating and perpetuating this violence because of the money involved in it, and that's why you have the shootings. But Dan and Amy, I don't really care about the gangbangers. I mean, that's the life they choose. But it's these children and these women who are prisoners in their own neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And where are these organizations like Black Lives Matter when a child is killed out there? It's crickets. You don't hear a word about it. But if a policeman does something minor or even a little on the edge of being maybe illegal, it's in the news for weeks and months.
If you were John Catanzara, FOP head, what is the one thing that you would die on a hill on? Say, we have got to get this. We don't have something that we need now. This is the thing. If you're going to give me one thing to improve policing and, by extension, public safety in Chicago, give me this thing.
Yeah, John's a good guy, and he's for his guys, and he's a great president. So with that being said, the money part doesn't come into play. But the thing is, I think that he should go and sit down with the mayor and the superintendent and tell them, take the gloves off. Let these police officers come out here and do their jobs without worrying about COPA or worrying about internal affairs, hammering these guys, not condoning violence, but for being a little heavy-handed, putting the pressure on these other gangs out on the street. Something has to be done. But right now, like I said, the police officers, the rank-and-file people, they have their hands tied. And I still speak to a lot of guys and girls. And honestly, Dan and Amy, they've taken the wind out of their sails.
He is Jerry Finnegan, a former Chicago police officer. The podcast, Finnegan's Take, as brought to us by Hollywood producer Neil Edelstein. It's available at Spotify and Apple. First couple episodes are out, but you can tell we're just scratching the surface here. Jerry Finnegan, thanks so much for joining us, and good luck with the podcast. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me. You guys have a great day.
Thank you, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
A storm is on the horizon, and you need to keep the lights on no matter what. Your business relies on the power being on 24/7. It's the lifeblood of your data and computer systems. Weather-related outages from the power company are not acceptable. Your need for a source of power that's reliable 24/7, along with round-the-clock service that can dispatch technicians to your site immediately, is mission critical. Your business needs Charles Equipment Energy Systems on speed dial. These are the big boys, not residential or solar, but reliable industrial generators for emergency backup or events. When you need more than a 100-foot extension cord plugged into a small engine generator, call Charles Equipment Energy Systems. They keep the lights on with rental generators for job sites or power outages. A storm is on the horizon. Plan ahead. Call now to prepare generators for storms and potential power outages. Call 630-834-6000, 630-834-6000, or charlesequipment.com.
Have you been struggling to find an easy, safe, and secure document scanning solution for Salesforce.com, Microsoft 365, SharePoint, or OnBase by Highland? Your struggle is now over, and it's time to get your documents and operations into the 21st century. With IoT Smart Connected Scanning, it's easy to turn physical paper into digital documents and have them directly uploaded to the cloud with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. And you don't need a degree in computing or IT to make it happen. Using QR code technology uniquely configured for your specific business, anyone can set the IoT Smart Connected Scanning device up in 5 minutes or less, saving your organization money and valuable time. Remote employees can even capture documents and send them safely and seamlessly. Organize documents efficiently and securely with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. To see a demo or to order now, go to ready4idt.com. That's ready4idt.com. Use promo code SMART and receive 10% off your order. IDT, putting paper in its place.
Looking for top-notch personal protection? The Smith & Wesson Equalizer is here to level the playing field. Easy to rack slide, easy to control ergonomic grip. It's designed for you. With a 10, 13, and 15-round magazine included, size up for better control or size down for easier concealment. Don't miss out on the opportunity to upgrade your safety. Visit your local dealer now. To learn more about the Equalizer, visit smith-wesson.com. Smith & Wesson, empowering Americans. All capacity sizes may not be available in your jurisdiction. Be sure to check your local laws and regulations.
With the holidays upon us, the increase in traveling, shopping, and connecting online also heightens the need to protect your identity and finances with LifeLock. Identity thieves see this time of year as an opportunity to drain your accounts, open new loans in your name, and damage your financial future. LifeLock detects and alerts you to the threats you might miss on your own. Don't let the busy holiday season catch you off guard. Save up to 25% off your first year with promo code CLAY. LifeLock.com, promo code CLAY.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
This is something. Penn University President Liz McGill posts video to do some damage control after her catastrophic testimony before that House committee the other day. We'll have her statement at 7:37.
It's an example how somebody can make a bad situation worse. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's our good friend Mike Scott. Hello, Mike.
7:32, we have 37 degrees, partly cloudy skies, and the shooter who killed 3 and injured another at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas on Wednesday. Was apparently a college professor. Police said the shooter is now deceased and there's no ongoing threat.
Our officers are going unit by unit, building by building with the university police and the rest of the police officers, firefighters, EMS, and making sure that we don't have any additional victims and or subjects.
Republican candidates for president are clashing on the debate stage in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and did so last night in a debate on News Nation, where former New Jersey Governor Christie slammed entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy for piling on former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley.
He has insulted Nikki Haley's basic intelligence, not her positions, her basic intelligence.
Ramaswamy took aim at Haley early on in the debate, as she's been gaining some momentum recently in the polls. The Pentagon says all of the military's Osprey aircraft have been grounded after 8 Air Force members died in a crash off the coast of Japan. Former President Donald Trump is expected to attend his New York fraud trial today. Multiple reports from New York say Trump will likely attend the civil fraud case. Trump is also expected to testify Monday as the last witness in that case. 4 have been arrested after a police chase in Chicago that ended with a crash in Chicago's Brighton Park neighborhood late last night. Illinois State Police say speeds hit over 100 miles an hour and 4 suspects were taken into custody. Chicago's handling of the illegal migrant crisis will be on the agenda for today's City Council meeting, where 3 Chicago aldermen are now demanding resignations of 7 officials from Mayor Brandon Johnson's administration over the failed Brighton Park migrant camp site. Alderman Anthony Beal, Anthony Napolitano, and Ray Lopez are demanding those involved resign.
We cannot allow them to continue to drive policy here in the city of Chicago.
The mayor's office released a statement defending those involved, saying they're doing serious work. Meantime, the Archdiocese of Chicago says it's working out a lease to house about 300 migrants in the now shuttered St. Bartholomew School. Chicago sports. Bulls on a 3-game win streak, taking down Charlotte 111-100. White Sox add some pitching depth. They get Shane Drone in the Rule 5 draft yesterday. He was 10-7 last year in the Red Sox minor leagues. Blackhawks try to snap their 4-game losing skid when they host Anaheim tonight. The news is a service of the AM 560 Advantage, where membership has its privileges. Join today, 560theanswer.com/join. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Brandon Tatum wants Israel to continue.
I think that there's never should be a ceasefire. You know, what is the ultimate goal here? I think Israel's ultimate goal should be to eliminate Hamas and take over Gaza, have complete control in Gaza. In my opinion, that's what I think Israel should do. You're going to have these terrorist attacks and the fear of terrorism forever, unless you completely eliminate them and you control that particular government system.
The Officer Tatum Show, weeknights at 7, right before Jay Sekulow at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
Well, they dropped it down the stairs and then they tumbled off their truck. But when it fell out in the street, I knew I was out of luck. I got the crash, bang, boom. Should have had it in the staircase blue. Yeah. If you don't want to lose it, put yours in the staircase too.
Yes, Starcase has designed custom reusable shipping cases for everything from irreplaceable trophies to mission-critical scientific equipment. Cases that can take the crash, bang, boom waiting for it when it leaves your dock. Let us build you a case specially designed to protect your stuff. Go to starcase.com or call 800-822-STAR. That's 800-822-7827.
Hi, Dr. Ron Paul here. The Fed creates and pops bubbles using interest rate manipulation. Why put the value of your IRA or 401k at their mercy? This is why I recommend a physical gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. To get a free info kit from Birch Gold, text the word SHELTER to 989898. That's SHELTER to 989898. Do it now and protect your savings.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy Lee Gifford, and I've been around a long time. Every one of us, as we age, realizes that things are changing in our bodies, in the world around us. Lots of times I don't like what's happening, so what can I do about it? Well, the one thing we can do is pray, right? The other thing we can do is take better care of ourselves. I do that by taking Balance of Nature because I'm not really good at nutrition. I'm too busy, I'm on the run, and I don't eat enough vegetables, and I certainly don't eat enough fruit. And when I take Balance of Nature, I can feel good that I've done something for myself that I can actually control. So take control. Get Balance of Nature.
Celebrate Christmas with us. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this exclusive holiday offer by using discount code KLG.
Do you have a home remodeling project you'd love to get done? This is your opportunity to lock in this year's pricing with Chicago's Design Build Dream Team. Forever Remodeling is now offering exceptional savings. Simply sign on by December 31st to avoid any price increases next year. At Forever Remodeling, their expert designers and installers will turn your dreams into reality. Act now and you'll not only protect yourself from future price increases, but also beat the rush and secure a preferred spot in their schedule. Call 847-809-3355 or visit foreverremodeling.com. Highly skilled to design and build.
Pluto TV is your home for the holidays. Enjoy Christmas classics, all for free. Download the Pluto TV app on all your favorite devices. Pluto TV, stream now, pay never.
It is 7:39, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Right now, it is an hour and 40 minutes on the inbound Kennedy O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike inbound is at 65 minutes, 390 to the old post office. Stevenson inbound from 355 to DuSable Lakeshore Drive is a solid 1 hour. Southbound 55, stop and go traffic in the old accident site. That's southbound between Route 126 and Lockport Road. Dan Ryan inbound at 35 and climbing 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Tri-State stop and go northbound Roosevelt up through the Ike. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Sunny to partly cloudy today, mild, high 52. Currently, we have 37 degrees. Your next news update is at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Hate has a home on Ivy League campuses. We know that. We've known that for a long time, but some people are just waking up to that reality. Certainly, that reality was brought home in no uncertain terms from the Ivy League presidents who appeared before a House committee the other day. We discussed yesterday, but to refresh your recollection, because there has been a post-hearing statement intended to do some damage control from the testimony that was offered by Liz McGill.
Yeah, she's trying to walk it back.
The president of Penn. McGill was decidedly smug, almost giggling when she had this back and forth with Congresswoman Elise Stefanik.
Ms. McGill, at Penn, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Penn's rules or code of conduct? Yes or no?
If the speech turns into conduct, it can be harassment. Yes.
I am asking specifically calling for the genocide of Jews. Does that constitute bullying or harassment?
If it is directed and severe or pervasive, it is harassment.
So the answer is yes.
It is a context-dependent decision, Congresswoman.
It's a context-dependent decision. That's your testimony today. Calling for the genocide of Jews is depending upon the context. That is not bullying or harassment. This is the easiest question to answer yes, Ms. McGill. So is your testimony that you will not answer yes?
If it is if the
Yes
speech
or no?
becomes if the speech becomes conduct, it can be harassment. Yes.
Conduct meaning committing the act of genocide? The speech is not harassment? This is unacceptable, Ms. McGill. I'm going to give you one more opportunity for the world to see your answer. Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Penn's code of conduct when it comes to bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
It can be harassment.
The answer is yes. And Dr. Gay, at Harvard.
Yeah, it's the same deal at Harvard. The follow-up I mentioned would have been interesting from Stefanik would be, really, it's contextual. So give me the context. Give me a hypothetical in which the context, theoretically, that would make calling for the genocide of the Jews acceptable under the Penn Code of Conduct. Actually, we don't need any sort of context because it's happening and you're not doing anything about it. So I guess just doing it as a matter of course on campus is well within your interpretation of the Penn Code of Conduct. Well, she had 24 hours to think about that, did Miss McGill, Penn University president. And she posted this video to, of course, irony of ironies, provide some context to her testimony.
Oh, okay. So we got it wrong. It's our fault.
There was a
right?
moment during yesterday's congressional hearing on anti-Semitism when I was asked if a call for the genocide of Jewish people on our campus would violate our policies. In that moment, I was focused on our university's longstanding policies aligned with the U.S. Constitution, which say that speech alone is not punishable. I was not focused on, but I should have been, the irrefutable fact that a call for genocide of Jewish people is a call for some of the most terrible violence human beings can perpetrate. It's evil, plain and simple. I want to be clear. A call for genocide of Jewish people is threatening, deeply so. It is intentionally meant to terrify a people who have been subjected to pogroms and hatred for centuries and were the victims of mass genocide in the Holocaust. In my view, it would be harassment or intimidation.
Oh, now it would
For decades, under multiple Penn presidents and consistent with most universities, Penn's policies have been guided by the Constitution and the law. In today's world, where we are seeing signs of hate proliferating across our campus and our world in a way not seen in years, these policies need to be clarified and evaluated. Penn must initiate a serious and careful look at our policies, and Provost Jackson and I will immediately convene a process to do so.
Oh, yeah.
As
Meeting of
president,
the
I'm
minds.
committed to a safe, secure, and supportive environment so all members of our community can thrive. We can and we will get this right. Thank you.
No,
Stop.
thank you.
No,
No,
really.
thank you.
No, but I mean, this is on the heels of a student coming forward, Jewish student Yal Yacobi, who said that they were told not to wear clothing or accessories related to Judaism. He actually had to run from a building because people were shouting at him, "Death to Jews." Does she want to apologize to him? I mean, she created that atmosphere. That's why I say it.
So there's so many layers of disingenuousness here. One, we're immediately convening a working group to address anti-Semitism on campus. Upon reflection, that would be considered harassment or intimidation. Again, where the First Amendment is not what's controlling here. The Code of Conduct for the university is what's controlling. The First Amendment ultimately is in the larger scheme of things, but that wasn't the question. It was about the Code of Conduct. Also, you saw the real Liz McGill in her testimony before that committee. This is the politician Liz McGill having to recant and recast in response to pressure, probably in part from alumni. But all of this business, we've already been here before with Penn. Remember, how embarrassing it is for the Ivy League to have, like, at Cornell, you have to have Governor Kathy Hochul, New York State Governor, come in and do a press conference. We're going to initiate an anti-Semitism awareness module. Oh, and of course, we're also going to have an anti-Islamophobia module because, we need to be even Steven, as if the things are morally equivalent. And that's the same thing that McGill testified to the other day. We have an action plan to combat anti-Semitism. We have a university task force. And because anti-Semitism is interconnected to other forms of hate. So they're just sticking with the intersectionality, DEI bull jive. She can't get out of it. They can't get out of it. The universities can't. And as I said, they're rolling out a presidential commission on Islamophobia too, because they're equivalent threats, even though they're not. The university must do better to reject all forms of hate. Heather McDonald, writing in the Wall Street Journal, as usual, sticks the landing. The university has no capacity to eliminate hate, nor should that be its mission. In the name of rejecting hate, colleges built their DEI bureaucracies in the first place and allowed bureaucrats and their faculty sympathizers to put certain facts and ideas off limits. In the name of rejecting hate, colleges started requiring faculty, even in the hard sciences, to justify their research in the name of inclusion and belonging. Protecting identity categories have constantly expanded while the haters shrank to an ever smaller subset of white males. Meaning they're the haters, the white males. The real issue on campuses isn't anti-Semitism, but the anti-Western ethos that has colonized large swaths of the curriculum. Elite schools once disdained Jews because they were seen as outsiders to Western civilization. Now they are reviled as that civilization's very embodiment. Students explain that their hatreds come from what they learn in class, that the West is built on white supremacism and oppression. Israel is cast as the Western settler, colonist, oppressor par excellence. That's what's happening. The Liz McGill and these university presidents are so upside down with their identitarianism that they are trying to find a way to eliminate hate through hate. They're going to unify by dividing based on your intersectionality scores, based on the binary of oppressor and oppressed. This is a charade. What these Ivy League schools and other schools, Northwestern included, Stanford included, are doing in response to the embarrassing and sickening things happening on their campuses and the embarrassing and sickening testimony from their university presidents. That's what's actually happening.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You could also reach us on our text line, 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
Ralph Rantoul.
Yeah, hey, good morning. The good thing is that the first draft of her recanting speech went through their attorney, and their attorney said, look, Liz, I know you're going to fix this, but you really should think twice about using the phrase final solution in coming to a conclusion. And she said, look, Attorney Shlomo Goldfarb, I don't know what you're talking about. How could you possibly think we're anti-Semitic?
Thanks for the backstory on that, Ralph. Yeah, appreciate that. Boy. Greg, Jefferson Park.
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, she talks about, putting an end to this, and there is going to be an end to this until any conservative wants to come on their campus to speak about whatever. Then they'll be all for, stopping them, not giving them any security, and allowing their student population to basically bash their brains in because those people don't matter. And lastly, with respect to the American Jew, who, 70+% of them are leftist lunatics, voting for these morons, you know what? You get what you vote for. You guys have a good day.
Thanks for the call, Greg. Yeah, I know. I understand. It's frustrating. But, it's also frustrating, too, that these high net worth donors to these universities are getting ink when they fundamentally don't understand what's happening.
Right.
They fundamentally don't get it. There's like Mark
Pay
Rowan.
attention. I mean, my God.
Well, they don't get it from both ends. They didn't understand what was happening, and then they don't understand what the proper response is. So, like, for example, this guy, Mark Cohen, who wrote this open letter to Liz McGill. We actually excerpted it when it came out a couple weeks back. You know, he wants mandatory anti-Semitism awareness training. You're not getting it. Read Heather McDonald. Think through this. You're smart guys. That's how you made all the cash that you made. Same thing with Bill Ackman over at Harvard, or Ken Griffin for that matter. Think through this. Or unless you're just interested in playing press release politics to get an attaboy from your rich friends and from the segment of the DC press corps that is going to profile you as sort of leaders on the issue. The response to identitarianism isn't more of it. You're not getting to the root problem. Matt's outside. Hey, Matt.
Matt?
Oh, Matt, we got a bad connection there. Hold on, we'll try it again in a second.
Call back, Matt.
Alan Rockford.
My comment is simplistic observation. It says how quickly a leftist president of a college becomes a constitutional conservative when they're backed into a corner.
Well, yeah. Thanks for the call. I mean, one of the other lies I forgot to point to, we did yesterday with response to Claudine Gay, talking about how, these universities are aligned with the spirit of the First Amendment, when nothing could be further from the truth. We've been documenting that for as long as I've been on the air. I mean, the idea that, they take the Bill of Rights and they apply that to sort of their code of conduct and their campus culture. What a farce that is. George Naperville.
Yeah, Dan, maybe Miss McGill could have cleared this all up by saying some of her best friends are Jewish.
Yeah, right. Thanks.
Oh, yeah. This is like what the person said. Well, I have a black friend.
I'm surprised she didn't announce that she is going to call on Wharton to rescind Trump's MBA, do the full misdirection play.
Oh, yeah.
If you
He's a grad there.
Just heap some scorn in Trump's direction, and then, everything will be right with the world. Matt's outside. Hey, Matt.
Yeah,
Matt.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy. I apologize about that before. Real quick, I was going to say, what they should ask the Thailand's president.
Matt, sorry.
It's happening again.
Sorry, you're in a bad zone, Matt. Mike, Littleton, Colorado.
Good morning, and thank you for taking the call. Why are parents sending their kids to these schools? I mean, the automatic qualifier would be that. No, I really don't. Please tell me.
Status.
I mean, really.
Status, connections, pathway to, to prime positions in corporate America and elsewhere.
The connections I get, but I have to tell you that the fact that they promoted that lady to that position automatically nullifies any status that could be attached to that school.
I hear you. Thanks for the call, Mike. I hear you, but there's a lot of inertia in that direction, and for all the best and brightest that won't go to the Ivy Leagues because of what's happened, and good for them if they don't. They're going to be fine no matter where they go, the best and brightest students. Yeah, but there'll be people right behind them because there's too much to be gained still and for the foreseeable future from that Ivy League degree. That's just the reality. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. They're a bank with roots right here in Chicago, and their decisions are made locally too. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Mick O'Rourke, President and CEO of Signature Bank. We'd like to wish you happy holidays from our Signature Bank family to your family.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality this holiday season. Visit signaturebank.bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. You have a true partnership with a team that is invested in your success. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Kevin Bastuga, co-founder of Signature Bank. There's no better place to be for the holidays than Chicago.
Signature Bank is wishing you a safe, healthy, and happy holiday season.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality this holiday season. Visit signaturebank.bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for health care can save many families up to $500 a month, and that is huge. But it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. So see what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 844-47-BIBLE. That's 844-47-BIBLE. 844-47-BIBLE.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, presenting the Turnkey Christmas Carolers.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good tidings we bring to you and your kin. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Now bring us some figgy pudding, now bring us some figgy pudding, now bring us some figgy pudding, and bring it right here. We won't go until we get some, we won't go until we get some, we won't go until we get some, so bring it right here. Good tidings we bring to you and your kin. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Not bad, but what they're really good at is technology and consulting. Start next year off right for your business by visiting turnkey.pro. That's turnkey.pro.
AM 560, The Answer.
I want to be a turnkey Christmas caroler. That was pretty good. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Former CIA analyst Fred Fleitz joins us to talk deep state and Ukraine policy at 8:08.
Today, sunny with some high clouds, a high of 52 degrees. It is now 8 a.m. WIND Chicago.
He was a no-show again. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. So 4 Trump challengers got the spotlight again in the 4th Republican debate without him.
I crushed Joe Biden in the polls. And if you give me this chance, we will crush him in November.
And as Nikki Haley rises up, she was a target on News Nation in the debate.
I am sick of Republicans who are not willing to stand up and fight back against what the left is doing to this country.
Ron DeSantis took swipes at Haley, so did Vivek Ramaswamy, who called her a fascist.
And she should come nowhere near the levers of power, let alone the White House.
This is a smart, accomplished woman, and you should stop insulting her.
Chris Christie called Ramaswamy an obnoxious blowhard, and Christie also took aim at the frontrunner.
This is an angry, bitter man who now wants to be back as president because he wants to exact retribution on anyone who has disagreed with him.
Now, the former president, meanwhile, was posting polls online, pointing out his big lead in the GOP races they debated. Today, the former president back in New York to again attend the civil trial where a judge already ruled the Trump organization committed fraud. The former president denies that, says he's a political target. Why is the big question at the University of Nevada in Las Vegas, where a gunman went on a shooting spree, room to room in a campus building, killing 3 people, wounding a 4th.
The scene absolutely chaotic. Many students barricaded themselves in their classrooms. 2 campus police detectives responded to the scene and immediately engaged the suspect. They say there was a shootout. The suspect was shot and died.
Fox's Christina Coleman. The gunman said to be a 67-year-old professor who tried to get a job at UNLV but was not hired. Today's December 7th, the date President Roosevelt said 82 years ago will live in infamy when Japan attacked us at Pearl Harbor. Ira Schaub is 103 years old, was there that day, says he was scared stiff.
You stand there, you don't know what to go, you just don't know what to do.
He's one of just 6 Pearl Harbor survivors who will be at a ceremony today in Hawaii. America's listening to Fox. Partly cloudy skies, 37 degrees, 8:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. 4 people were arrested this morning after a police chase in Chicago that ended in a crash in the Brighton Park neighborhood. Illinois State Police say speeds hit 100 mile an hour at times. 4 suspects were taken into custody before one tried to get away. After being caught by a canine, police say that suspect was transported to a nearby hospital. Chicago's handling of the illegal migrant crisis will be on the agenda. At today's city council meeting, 3 Chicago aldermen are calling for resignations of 7 officials from Mayor Brandon Johnson's administration over the failed Brighton Park migrant campsite. Alderman Anthony Beal, Anthony Napolitano, and Ray Lopez sent that letter.
We cannot allow them to continue to drive policy here in the city of Chicago.
The mayor's office releasing a statement defending those involved, saying they're doing, quote, serious work, end quote. Meantime, the Archdiocese of Chicago says it's working out a lease to house about 300 migrants in the now shuttered St. Bartholomew School. An Elgin police officer is charged with having child pornography. Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul charged Jordan Collins in DeKalb County Circuit Court with 5 counts of possession of child pornography. Collins was arrested on duty on Monday evening. He's been with the Elgin Police Department for 5 years. Chicago sports found the Bulls with a 3-game win streak after a win over Charlotte, 111-100. White Sox adding some pitching depth in the Rule 5 draft yesterday, selecting lefty Shane Drone, who was with the Red Sox last year. And the Blackhawks try to snap their 4-game losing skid as they take on Anaheim tonight. The News is a service of Dan and Amy 24/7. Around the clock, all day, every day. Listen now. danandamy247.com. 8:04. Time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. Now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Dollar General shares are gaining after the discount retailer was holding up better than expected in the recent quarter. Sales were up 2.4%. The company says that was mostly because of contributions from new stores, which offset the impact of other stores closing. Dollar General is planning 800 new stores and 1,500 stores being remodeled next year. Advanced Micro Devices shares are higher after revealing new products that could boost its artificial intelligence business. Air Methods, a helicopter ambulance business, has received bankruptcy court approval for its debt restructuring. The business says it will exit bankruptcy court by the end of the year after wiping out $1.7 billion in debt. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
AM 560 News Time is 8:05. A check of traffic and weather coming up next on AM 560.
Make sure that you never miss a day of Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson when you subscribe to the Chicago's Morning Answer podcast, presented by Signature Bank. Listen to the entire show each day on demand with limited commercial breaks. You can subscribe today for free at 560theanswer.com and click on podcasts or search for Chicago's Morning Answer on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
I've been taking Balance of Nature for several years, and I feel the energy level of 27. I endorse it, I believe in it, and I would recommend it.
My name is Barbara, and I'm a registered nurse, and I take Balance of Nature. I really love gardening. I love being outdoors, and I love watching things grow. Gardening is just kind of an extension of enjoying nature. You get the sunlight, you get the breeze, you listen to the birds. It's the whole thing. I believe in Balance of Nature, and I really love it.
Celebrate Christmas with us. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com and get this exclusive holiday offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Don't let everyday aches and pains keep you from living your best life.
I don't think I really understood what people meant when they talked about pain until I started feeling it myself.
Start feeling better every day with Relief Factor. a daily supplement designed to support your body's fight against aches and pains.
Not only do I move better without pain, I just feel better.
Created by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that target 4 metabolic pathways to address pain. Relief Factor doesn't just mask aches and pains, it helps reduce or even eliminate them.
Today, I do the things I love, and it doesn't occur to me to think about pain.
You can feel the difference all day, every day.
Join the over 1 million people who have tried Relief Factor's 3-week Quick Start Kit. It's only $19.95 and comes with our Feel Better or Your Money Back guarantee. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
It's 8:08. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Well, you are seeing brake lights on the inbound Edens right now between Cicero and Montrose, 45 minutes from Lake Cook Road to the junction. And right now, it is an hour 35 from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange on that inbound Kennedy commute. It's an hour and 20 on the inbound Ike from 390 into the old post office. Stevenson looking like right now inbound, it's 55 from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. 41 on the inbound Dan Ryan and climbing from 95th into the Burns Circle. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Mild day, lots of sun, high today 52, clear to partly cloudy tonight, though 46. Some sun, then cloudy for tomorrow afternoon, high 57. Morning rain Saturday, otherwise clouds and breezy, high Saturday at 50. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Partly cloudy and 37 this morning. Your next news update, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Catholic Cemeteries of Chicago. Ensure your legacy lives on. Set your final wishes in place. Visit CatholicCemeteriesChicago.org.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Amy, have you seen the movie Heat yet? I know it's only been out for 25 years, but have you gotten around to that yet?
No, I was thinking about downloading it maybe and watching it. No, I have not seen Heat. I know. It's so horrific.
Pacino, De Niro, Sizemore, Kilmer. That's not enough to get you.
Oh, okay. Kilmer, yeah. Oh, you know what? I'll check it out.
So there's a scene in Heat.
Yes.
Spoiler alert here, if there's another person in America who hasn't seen Heat other than Amy.
Well, maybe I shouldn't listen to this, should I? All right, well, fine. Go on ahead.
There's a scene where after the last bank heist, and Pacino, who's the cop in the story, and cops get the drop on the bank they're going to hit, and they're there, and then there's a shootout on the street. After that happens, it breaks apart. De Niro gets on the phone to John Voight. John Voight's in it, too, speaking of great cast. And John Voight's sort of the guy who sets up his deals. And he calls Voight, says, I need a new escape plan, essentially. And said, well, why? How do you know it's been compromised? And he said, well, essentially said, after the cops showed up to the bank that we were going to hit, how can I trust it? How can I trust it? And so Voight charged a new escape plan. That's my reaction to all of this hoopla surrounding Christopher Wray's big statement at the hearing the other day, particularly in the context of the rightful pounding he took across all the other issues we poured through yesterday. Chris Wray's all the threats are elevated.
So what I would say that is unique about the environment that we're in right now in my career is that while there may have been times over the years where individual threats could have been higher here or there than where they might be right now, I've never seen a time where all the threats, or so many of the threats, are all elevated all at exactly the same time. That's what makes this environment that we're in now so fraught, and why funding our men and women who are working shoulder to shoulder with state and local law enforcement and other partners every day makes it even more important, not less.
So, blinking red lights analogy about 9/11, all the lights were blinking red before 9/11. Apparently, obviously, all of us missed it. Would you say that there's multiple blinking red lights out there?
I see blinking lights everywhere I turn.
It's like a scene out of Airplane with Shatner. The blinking red lights everywhere I turn. This has been the headline. Oh, blinking red lights. Christopher Wray predicts a terrorist attack, and so on and so forth. How can I trust it? How can I trust the FBI under Christopher Wray? Particularly, not just because of the track record and the politicization, but because he's there with his tin cup asking for money and asking for FISA Section 702 renewal. How can I trust him? How can I trust the CIA? Reading my latest edition of Imprimis from Hillsdale College, great newsletter they put out monthly. Charles Faddis is a former operations officer in the CIA, including service as the department chief of the CIA's Counterterrorism Center and a chief of station in the Middle East. We need the CIA, but we also need to recognize the uncomfortable reality that the CIA is not performing at the level we require. It is not keeping us safe. It must be repaired, and it must be repaired quickly. He basically says there are two reasons, bureaucratization and politicization. He talks about all the things the CIA missed, including the COVID outbreak in Wuhan. He writes, the people in charge of our government, including those who run the CIA, have forgotten their core mission and how they're to be effective, is what he's referencing without getting into details. They have done their best to turn the CIA into just another federal agency. Recruiters no longer search for intangibles or focus on the key psychological traits critical to success in the world of spying. They look at academic degrees, existing levels of language proficiency, and increasingly at things like skin color and sexual orientation. The CIA is buried under endless layers of middle management. Case officers in the field may spend days just trying to complete the requisite paperwork for a single asset meeting. He goes on, and by the way, he also goes on to say, all the Crossfire Hurricane that was initiated by Jim Comey's FBI, I mean, that wouldn't have happened without authorization from John Brennan's CIA. We don't talk about the CIA enough, and that with respect to that either. He writes, recruiting CIA must be completely revamped. Quotas are absurd. Focusing on color, gender, and sexual orientation is at best irrelevant. We want the best, and that means those people who possess the unique blend of skills and abilities to enable them to do what everyone else considers impossible. He also says the structure of the CIA must be flattened and simplified. The organization must be field-centric. And he goes on with more prescriptions for structural and cultural change at the CIA. So I ask again, based on what we're hearing from people who know, in addition to what we're seeing in terms of performance, how can we trust it? They're always there to demand more money and more scope of power in spite of performance, not because of it. For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by Fred Fleitz, Vice Chair of the American First Policy Institute Center for American Security. He previously served as the National Security Council Chief of Staff, a CIA analyst, and a House Intelligence Committee staff member. Fred, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Good to be here.
Is there any reason I should trust Chris Wray's FBI or the CIA in its current iteration?
Well, I'm glad you brought up this article by my friend Sam Faddis. That's a speech he gave at Hillsdale College. I gave one at the same program, and we had similar messages. The message that I gave was a little bit different, and what I said was that the CIA was created to serve the president. It wasn't served to speak truth to power or to adjudicate presidential policy or to interfere in presidential elections or to promote climate change and all the other nonsense that Sam talked about. And I agree, there has to be a major house cleaning, major reorganizations, because we now have an intelligence structure that new Republican presidents won't trust. And this is just so dangerous because we live in a very dangerous world, and presidents have to get crucial intelligence on potential global threats, knowing that the people giving it to them don't have an agenda. They're trying to keep our nation safe. And we have a situation now, if President Trump is reelected next year, and I think he will be, until there are major changes in the intelligence community, he's just going to ignore these people.
And I mean, it's really a bit of a trick bag, because at the same time, as the argument goes, very well, you'll hear from former CIA, just like former FBI. The rank and file analysts and agents are good people. They're doing hard work. They're not political. They're trying to enhance America's safety and America's national security. And so we're in this bit of a trick bag where we're supposed to trust the rank and file, even as we concede we can't trust the leadership.
And that's exactly right. And basically the philosophy in these intelligence agencies now is that we're the experts, and they want to tell the president what to think. And that they are basically, they say they speak truth to power. I got news for you. Intelligence is not truth. It is an opinion. If I write an intelligence analysis CIA, it's my opinion. It might be correct. There may be other intelligence agencies with another interpretation. The president needs this analysis, but he's not bound to follow it. And if he doesn't follow something that the CIA says he thinks it's wrong, he's not politicizing intelligence. He hasn't done something wrong. He's being president. But we now have a narrative that if presidents don't believe our intelligence community, if it doesn't follow their recommendations and analysis, they're doing something wrong or illegal or immoral. I mean, this is how the deep state thinks it runs this country, not our elected officials.
So do you trust the CIA and do you trust the FBI?
Well, look, having said that, I do think most officials and analysts at the CIA are ethical and non-political and hardworking. I believe that there are people at the higher levels, mostly named by Democratic administrations, who have really distorted the mission and priorities of these agencies. And there has to be a major house cleaning of the CIA, other intelligence agencies, a huge house cleaning at the FBI. And we had to bring in people not to politicize these agencies, but to change the culture, to let them know they have to keep politics out of their work, and they have to basically tell the truth and not let political agendas color what they say.
It's just becoming increasingly difficult to believe that's possible when it requires so few, at least at the decision-making level, to do so much damage. I mean, we're seeing this play out with respect to national security-oriented agencies, and also sort of third parties that are funded by the government that are international-facing, that are engaged in censorship. The Twitter files documented this, and now this thing is in my craw. This cyber threat intelligence league that Michael Schellenberger and Matt Taibbi are reporting about in real time.
The sad thing is that the Trump administration could have fixed this, and it didn't, because it didn't name the best people to some of these positions. They weren't strong enough, or they came in with almost no staff. If we name new officials to take control of these intelligence agencies, they have to come in with a fairly large team, and they have to let go a lot of career people or reassign them. And what the Trump administration did is they would name one or two people at the top, not realizing that's not nearly enough to get control of these agencies. And again, I don't want to politicize them. I just want to get them to change their culture so they do what they're supposed to be doing, to keep politics out of their work. And I think a new Trump administration will be much better prepared to take control of the federal bureaucracy. That's why you're seeing all these articles right now on the Washington Post, New York Times, that Trump will be a dictator. No, Trump won't be a dictator, but he will make sure the federal bureaucracy advances presidential policies and not its own.
Talking about Ukraine, since you were a former COS at NSC, love the acronyms, John Kirby, the spokeshuman for the National Security Council, had this to say yesterday about the GOP's recalcitrance in supporting more funding for the Ukrainian war effort.
And so we can't support Ukraine. Their chief advisor yesterday said they're likely to lose this war if they lose U.S. support. And Putin gets all of Ukraine, then what? Then where does he go? Because right then, he's up against the eastern flank of NATO. And if you think the cost of supporting Ukraine is high now, just imagine how much higher it's going to be, not just in national treasure, but in American blood, if he starts going after one of our NATO allies. Because as the president also said, we take our Article 5 commitments very seriously.
So that's the latest, the Putin domino theory, resuscitating the Putin domino theory, and then Biden's pronouncement that if Putin were to attack a NATO ally, then American troops are going to be on the ground, and this is supposed to frighten Republicans into supporting more funding for Ukraine.
Yeah, Nikki Haley saying that, Biden saying that, Brian Kilmeade said that on Fox this morning. Christie said that. It's false. Putin has no intention of attacking a NATO country. It's false. It's scaremongering. The problem here is that Biden will not put forward a plan on how to end this war. What's the end game? How do we get to a ceasefire? Biden just wants to provide weapons forever. We provided a lot of weapons last year. The counteroffensive staged by the Ukrainians went nowhere. And Congress has been very clear with Biden, we're not providing money to Ukraine until you defend the southern border of the United States. Before we defend Ukrainian borders, let's defend our country. Biden just won't do it.
Fred Fleitz, Vice Chair of the American First Policy Institute Center for American Security, former CIA analyst. Fred, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good to be here.
Thank you, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer.
I'm Dave Nissen, CEO of PKF Mueller. As a CPA firm, we have been serving our business clients since 1968 by providing audit, accounting, tax, advisory, and consulting services. We as trusted advisors go beyond what our clients hired us to do by thinking outside the box to understand their operations and industry. We want to discover ways to increase their net income and cash flow by reducing costs or increasing efficiencies. To this end, PKF Mueller provides several client value-added services through strategic relationships. Our partners are specialists and serve the same type of clients that we do and add value by reducing our clients' overall electric and gas costs, discovering inaccuracies and overcharges on utility bills, assisting in financing of real estate, and helping to reduce uncollectible accounts and bad debt expenses. To learn more about our value-added service providers and how we can assist, call me directly at 630-524-5274 or dnissen@pkfmueller.com.
All right, we are about halfway to reaching our goal for our campaign this year with Food for the Poor. We pair up with them every year because they're the real deal. They help people on the ground. They put food in the mouths of those starving children in Latin America and the Caribbean. And we wanted to tell you that if you're a business owner, please listen up, or if you make the marketing decisions in your company, our business benefactor program is the best way to take your company to the next level. If you've thought about advertising, was just kind of on the fence, this is the time to act. A one-time donation, $2,500, tax deductible. You want to get those in before the end of the year. And as a way of saying thank you, we give you 40 one-minute commercials that air right here on AM 560 Monday through Friday to become a business benefactor. Call Ann Jeanette. You ready for the number? 847-472-8951. 847-472-8951. 8951. This sells out every year. And Dan, do you have the list of some of our new business benefactors?
Yeah, we want to thank all the businesses that have signed up so far, including MS Consulting, Inspired Closets, Napleton Mazda of Naperville, Gobert's Farm in Pingree Grove, and many others. We need the business leadership to reach our goal. As Amy said, we're halfway home, so again, that number for our general sales manager to join those enlightened businesses is 847-472-8951. Her name is Ann Jeanette, again. And if you aren't a business owner or don't make the marketing decision for your business and you just want to donate individually, you can give us a call at 844-862-4673. Again, that number, 844-862-4673. 4673, or visit us online at 560theanswer.com/food for the poor.
Looking for top-notch personal protection? The Smith & Wesson Equalizer is here to level the playing field. Easy to rack slide, easy to control ergonomic grip. It's designed for you. With a 10, 13, and 15-round magazine included, size up for better control or size down for easier concealment. Don't miss out on the opportunity to upgrade your safety. Visit your local dealer now. To learn more about the Equalizer, visit smith-wesson.com. Smith & Wesson, empowering Americans. All capacity sizes may not be available in your jurisdiction. Be sure to check your local laws and regulations.
With the holidays upon us, the increase in traveling, shopping, and connecting online also heightens the need to protect your identity and finances with LifeLock. Identity thieves see this time of year as an opportunity to drain your accounts, open new loans in your name, and damage your financial future. LifeLock detects and alerts you to the threats you might miss on your own. Don't let the busy holiday season catch you off guard. Save up to 25% off your first year with promo code CLAY. LifeLock.com, promo code CLAY.
Oh, yeah. Christmas time is here. What did you get in your lady friend? Well, may I suggest getting her a Smooth Seduction Satin Pajamagram? Oh, yeah. Guess what it is? It's 4 gifts in one. You or go to pajamagram.com and you tell them Dan and Amy sent you, of course. But when you go to that website, you'll see the Smooth Seduction Satin Nightie. Also comes with a robe plus a free satin eye mask. I want to see you in one of those bad boys, Dan, the eye mask. And it's all wrapped in an elegant satin keepsake bag. You heard that right. 4 gifts delivered right to your door, ready to go under that tree. Silky, sensuous, glides over the skin, they say. It is designed to make her feel amazing and drive you wild. Go to pajamagram.com and tell them Dan and Amy sent you. Oh, yeah.
I've been taking Balance of Nature for several years, and I feel the energy level of 27. I endorse it, I believe in it, and I would recommend it.
My name is Barbara, and I'm a registered nurse, and I take Balance of Nature. I really love gardening. I love being outdoors, and I love watching things grow. Gardening is just kind of an extension of enjoying nature. You get the sunlight, you get the breeze, you listen to the birds. It's the whole thing. I believe in Balance of Nature, and I really love it.
Celebrate Christmas with us. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order plus a free fiber and spice supplement with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com and get this exclusive holiday offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
I love giving jewelry as a gift. Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. I want to tell you that Roland's Jewelers is the perfect place for that magical holiday gift for someone you love. I'm always amazed by their 5-star Google reviews. I love that they're family-owned. Hey, getting engaged? Well, Roland's Jewelers has a large selection of both mined and lab-grown diamonds at great prices. Choose from beautifully crafted engagement rings from designer Simon G. or Italian designer Roberto Coin, offering stunning diamond pendants and earrings. How about a Tag Heuer watch with cutting-edge technology? Listen, I've been a customer of Roland's Jewelers for a long time. You should too. They're so impressive. Their staff is expertly trained. I encourage you to visit Roland's Jewelers in downtown Libertyville or visit RolandsJewelers.com. That's ROLLANDS, RolandsJewelers.com. Roland's Jewelers, a family-owned jeweler you can trust this holiday, just like I do.
AM 560, The Answer.
There are many Trump impersonators out there, but one of the best is Sean Farish, and he has a new parody song for the season. Sung like Trump, of course.
Well, the weather outside is scary, and we know that his legs are hairy. We know it 'cause he told us so. Sleepy Joe, Sleepy Joe, Sleepy Joe. Can't understand him when he's speaking. He even said he was Puerto Rican. Fell off a bike when it was going slow. Sleepy Joe, Sleepy Joe, Sleepy Joe. On the border, he has no clue, and it's making us all go insane. When he's got nothing left to do, he just sends some more cash to Ukraine. Now the country is slowly dying. And Karine Jean-Pierre keeps on lying.
Oh, this is great.
This president is our greatest foe. Sleepy Joe, Sleepy Joe, Sleepy Joe.
Oh, it's in time for the holidays.
I love it. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 8:38, speaking of Sleepy Joe, Mr. 10%, he responds to the rare press inquiry about his and his son's business dealings. 8:38.
But now into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
8:32, 37 degrees. And this morning, the shooter who killed 3 on campus at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, was apparently a college professor. Governor Joe Lombardo praised the efforts of first responders to keep students safe.
I had no doubt that the response would be appropriate, it would be swift, it would be quick, to the satisfaction of all the naysayers that we normally experience during critical incidents.
Law enforcement sources say the suspect was a 67-year-old career professor who had unsuccessfully applied for a job at the school. He was killed by police. The Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor 82 years ago today. Survivors are gathering at the site to remember their fallen colleagues. David Kilton is with the National Park Service and says every year the pool for survivors who attend gets even smaller.
We're just at that time frame that we're not going to have them much longer. We expect maybe 5 to 6 potentially this year, but we'll see.
Over 2,300 servicemen were killed in that attack when the Japanese surprised the U.S. military in 1941. The events at Pearl Harbor launching the U.S. into World War II. Four people were arrested this morning after a police chase here in Chicago that ended up in the Brighton Park neighborhood. Illinois State Police say pursuing that vehicle put speeds at over 100 miles an hour at times. 4 suspects have been taken into custody. And Chicago's handling of the illegal migrant crisis will be on the agenda for today's city council meeting. 3 Chicago aldermen are now calling for the resignation of 7 officials from Mayor Brandon Johnson's administration over the failed Brighton Park migrant camp site, including Alderman Ray Lopez, Anthony Napolitano, and Anthony Beal.
The community warned the administration that there were contaminants here, and it was totally ignored.
Meantime, the Archdiocese of Chicago says it's now working out a lease to house about 300 migrants at the shuttered St. Bartholomew School. Bulls over the Hornets, 111-100. On the ice tonight, the Blackhawks will try and snap their 4-game losing skid when they host Anaheim. The news a service of Boost Infinite and their new wireless technology that switches between networks, giving you the best service at a lower price. Switch today, 855-55-BOOST. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
If you listen to the mainstream media and the Democrats, you'd think it was a sin to be black and conservative. Well, John Anthony blows up that perception every week on Black and Right. Join John this Saturday afternoon at 4 when he pushes back against the left and its regressive, progressive agenda that tries to dictate how people should think or feel about politics. Listen to Black and Right this Saturday afternoon at 4, right here on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you a driver of a Ford PowerStroke diesel engine? Tired of taking your Ford PowerStroke diesel in to be misdiagnosed or paying for repairs that don't fix the problem? Well, bring your vehicle to the diesel headquarters, Remke's Garage. The shop is equipped with state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment and highly trained technicians. Take it to the experts. Take it to Remke's Garage. Remke's Garage specializes in Ford PowerStroke, Chevy Duramax, Dodge Cummins, Mercedes Sprinter, and Isuzu diesel engines and transmission repairs. At Remke's, they'll make your vehicle repairs convenient by offering a free commercial loaner vehicle.
Remke's Garage, where you won't spend $1,000 to fix a $100 problem. Call for details and to schedule an appointment at 800-5-REMKES or visit Remke'sGarage.com. Remke's Garage, your diesel headquarters.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for Townhall.com. So-called women's groups have always claimed to speak for women and defend their interests. Now we know these claims were a hypocritical sham. Feminist women's groups have lost all legitimacy by failing to denounce Hamas's use of rape and sexual violence against women as a weapon of war. What Hamas has done to Israeli women is beyond horrific. Take just one example. One Israeli woman, described as having the face of an angel, was gang raped by 8 to 10 men. She begged to be killed before being shot in the back of the head. Her rapists laughed. A State Department spokesman admitted Hamas likely refuses to release female hostages because they'll tell of the grotesque sexual atrocities committed against them. Still, the women's groups, including the UN's Arm for Female Empowerment, remain far too silent. They're appalling. It's time to reassert the moral standard against violence against women in war.
The holidays. Back again. Visiting with family and friends this time of year can bring great joy and happiness. But it also can unfortunately bring stress, hypertension, and overeating, all of which can make your blood pressure skyrocket. High blood pressure is one of the world's leading risk factors for death and disability, and often leads to stroke, heart attack, and kidney damage. That's why Chicago's very own Ira Antelis developed 120 Life, a juice drink and powder that lowers your blood pressure naturally. I'm drinking it, I love it, and it works like a charm for me. And for those with diabetes, the powdered form of 120 Life has just 1 gram of sugar. If you suffer from high blood pressure around the holidays or whenever, give 120 Life a try. It's a fantastic alternative to pharmaceutical drugs. Order today at 120life.com. That's 120life.com. Use coupon code LIBERTY at checkout. Save 15%. From all of us at 560 AM, my friends at 120 Life, have a wonderful holiday season, and please don't overeat.
This hourly segment is brought to you by charlesequipment.com, keeping you powered up no matter what the conditions. charlesequipment.com.
8:38. Let's get an update on the roads. As always, the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, and we're spying a 35-minute travel time on the inbound Edens, Lake Cook Road into the junction. Kennedy, 95 minutes. O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Accident left shoulder inbound between Austin and Montrose. Eichen, it's an hour from 390 into the old post office. Stevenson, just about an hour. We'll call it 56 now, 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan, 30 minutes in 95th to the Burns Circle interchange. The Reagan, slow traffic eastbound, jamming up at Roosevelt Road. Elmwood Park, 73rd Court between Diversey and Wellington, shut down due to a structure fire being mopped up by Elmwood Park Fire. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Sunny to partly cloudy and mild today, high 52. Currently 37. Your next news update is at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Somehow, somebody in the D.C. press corps was able to get a question related to Biden Inc. through the din and to Mr.
Actually, we got...
and to Mr. 10%, the big guy, President Biden. This was that interchange.
President Biden, on Ukraine and also China, there's polling by the Associated Press that shows that almost 70% of Americans, including 40% of Democrats, believe that you acted either illegally or unethically in regards to your family's business interests. Can you explain to the Americans, amid this impeachment inquiry, why you interacted with so many of your son and brother's foreign business associates?
I'm not going to comment on that. I did not, and it's just a bunch of lies.
You didn't interact with many of their business associates?
I did not. There's lies.
And then he walked away all hissy fitty.
Well, I suppose the reaction is, well, what else can he say after denying it for all these times? And plus, even if he wanted to explain it, can you explain it? Was the question asked by the reporter. Even if he wanted to explain it, he couldn't. He doesn't have the capacity to explain it. Speaker Mike Johnson tweeted out in response, the president just lied again to the American people. Well, that's just what he does. Fact, there are at least 22 examples of Joe Biden speaking with or meeting with Hunter Biden's foreign business associates. Oh, you mean those 22 times? Oh, I see. This is why House Speaker Mike Johnson is scheduling the vote for a formal impeachment inquiry for next week.
Good. What do you guys think of that? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You could also hit us on that text line, 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
And there's a good reason. I mean, the House Oversight Committee keeps digging, and they keep coming up with more information. But the new information then just prompts more questions, and the need to keep digging to try to get answers. For example, this week, House Ways and Means Committee released testimony from Joseph Ziegler. He's one of the IRS whistleblowers.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one who's, I'm a gay Democrat.
Right. Oh, that's right. Yep.
Yeah, that's him. He told the committee he got the impression that the Biden campaign was behind Kevin Morris's assistance to Hunter Biden, raising concerns of campaign finance violations. So, because Morris, Kevin Morris is this Hollywood lawyer, just a couple of months after meeting Hunter Biden at a fundraiser, he gave Hunter Biden $4.5 million.
For what?
Because he needed the money.
Yeah, he needed the money. Oh.
And he
oh,
needed
that's right.
the
He had a little bit of an expensive drug and porn problem.
Well, he needed the money, and Joe Biden, this is in the height of Joe Biden seeking the Democrat nomination for president in January of 2020. That's when they believe the meeting happened. And so Hunter needed the money, and Joe Biden's campaign needed Hunter to not be an albatross. So enter Kevin Morris and his $4.5 million, which creates the potential campaign violation that was referenced. An attorney who spoke with John Solomon over at Just the News, as the whistleblowers have shared some information previously regarding Kevin Morris, Kevin Morris is someone who is donating or, quote, loaning money to Hunter within just a couple months of having met him. This, according to a New York Times report, actually. That was December of 2020. Ziegler's evidence chronicled a 2.5-hour crisis meeting at Kevin Morris's home in L.A., and an email from Morris warning of the personal and political risk that Hunter Biden's unresolved tax issues posed. And then candidate Joe Biden's campaign for the nomination was in full swing. Hunter Biden and his team of lawyers and accountants called a crisis meeting at the home of Kevin Morris in the Pacific Palisades. The date of the meeting is not stated in the documents, but it likely took place between January 18th and January 27th of 2020. According to the chronology of the IRS interview memo, the meeting was ostensibly to discuss Hunter Biden's mounting tax issues, but Hunter Biden's own accountant, Troy Schmidt, told the IRS, DOJ, and FBI investigators that the group ended up not discussing the tax returns at all. Right. This was Hollywood lawyer, Dem financier, operating as a fixer, one might surmise. One might think that. I couldn't possibly say. Jonathan Turley can, though. And here's what Turley, law professor, George Washington University, of course. You see him on Fox all the time. This is what Turley said about the forthcoming vote on the formal impeachment inquiry.
And now we see joint accounts where money is moving to Joe Biden. We even have Joe Biden's house being listed for some of these payments by Hunter Biden. It's rather daunting to imagine what you need, according to the Democrats. So I think the moment of truth has arrived. Democrats have either got to show that they stand against corruption and approve an inquiry, or they have to take ownership of this, because influence peddling is the favorite form of corruption in Washington. But none of us have seen the likes of this.
Mm-hmm. So that's where we're at. And if you think that there is, again, this movement afoot to dump Joe Biden, and we need to tread lightly with moving on impeaching Joe Biden, even recognizing it won't go anywhere in the Senate, just as Democrats knew that their 2 Trump impeachments wouldn't go anywhere in the Senate, but they pursued it anyway. If you're concerned about that politically, because you want Trump or DeSantis to run against Joe Biden. Paul Sperry, an investigative journalist over at Real Clear Investigations, tweeted this out. He was watching CNN, so none of us had to. CNN host Van Jones just now remarked that Biden is so revered by Democrats for his accomplishments that they'd like to enshrine him on Mount Rushmore after one term. Quoting Van Jones, if Joe Biden were to quit right now, he'd be on Mount Rushmore. I don't know if that's trying to get him to quit or trying to get him to continue exactly, but regardless, this is the sort of these are the sorts of statements you're getting from the sort of Democrat mouthpieces and institutional interests like Flax on CNN. So, as Joe Biden said, I'm sure there are 50 Democrats that could beat Trump, but I'm the one who's going to do it. I got to do it. Yeah, he's got to do it. And it's not for his party. That's what I'm saying for months. Every incentive the Biden family has. More information comes out. The no separation between the accounts. Chinese communist money flowing into Hunter Biden's account, going to Joe Biden's account, as we talked about earlier in the week, as you heard Jonathan Turley just reference. The details coming from IRS whistleblowers about these meetings that were suspicious to them as IRS caseworkers. The lack of alacrity when it came to the FBI and the DOJ in pursuing the Hunter Biden investigation, as also coming from IRS caseworkers, including a self-identified gay Democrat. The emails, new emails that were identified by House Ways and Means, 327 emails Biden sent, this is the big guy, or received from 2010 to 2019 under his various pseudonyms. And, there's this push. National Archives and Records has 82,000 pages of emails and documents sent or received under Biden's email aliases, and they still don't have the contents of these emails. But there is some things that are interesting that require more inquiry, that require an impeachment inquiry to provide as much investigative power as is legally available. 327 emails listed in the log are exchanges between Biden and Hunter or Eric Schwerin, former Hunter business partner. 54 exchanges between Joe Biden and Eric Schwerin, Hunter Biden business partner, but he had no interest or knowledge of or involvement in Hunter's businesses. You just heard him say those are all lies. 5 of the emails were exchanged within 5 days of Biden's June 2014 trip to Ukraine. So he's a sitting vice president. Another 27 were exchanged prior to his return trip to Ukraine in November of 2014. Those trips coincided with Hunter's position at Burisma. And they preceded Biden's 2015 role in forcing the ouster of the Ukrainian prosecutor investigating Burisma and its CEO. Another 38 emails originated from within the White House and were sent to Joe Biden's aliases, with Hunter Biden copied. But again, there's nothing to see here. There's no evidence because we don't have the contents of those emails. The investigators don't have the contents of those emails. So just ignore this. They're going to try and run out the clock, and we'll see how good House Republicans are at continuing to dig and unearth information that brings this entire picture into clearer focus. But there's no question that moving forward with the formal impeachment inquiry is the right and proper thing to do. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
All right, do you have cold floors? Oof, that's not a fun feeling when you get up in the morning. Well, guess what? The problem is probably in your basement and your crawl space, and Permaseal can help with their Permafoam insulation. We love Permafoam, right? Justin Kosick, he likes the rim joist spray foam. That can be installed in just one day, and it's twice as effective as the old-fashioned fiberglass bats. Permaseal's been around for 40-plus years. They have 500,000 homeowners across Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana that have trusted Permaseal to make their homes healthier and more valuable. Save money on those electric bills and those heating bills. Call 800-421-SEAL, 800-421-7325, or visit permaseal.net. Permaseal, known best for being better.
The holidays, visiting with family and friends this time of year can bring great joy and happiness, but for some people, it can bring stress, hypertension, and overeating, all of which can make your blood pressure skyrocket. High blood pressure is one of the world's leading risk factors for death and disability, and often leads to stroke, heart attack, and kidney damage. That's why Ira Antelis developed 120 Life, a juice drink and powder that lowers your blood pressure naturally. I'm drinking it, and it's working. For those with diabetes, the powdered version is just 1 gram of sugar. If you suffer from high blood pressure around the holidays or whenever, give 120 Life a try. It's a fantastic alternative to pharmaceutical drugs. Order today at 120life.com. That's 120life.com. Use the coupon code Dennis at checkout to save 15%. 120life.com. Coupon code Dennis. Have a wonderful holiday season.
Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson here. And if you're a small business owner or you make the marketing or advertising decisions for a business, then this message is for you.
Our annual Food for the Poor campaign is underway. And this year we're helping to raise money for children and their families in Latin America and the Caribbean who are desperate for access to food.
Millions of people, including many children, are suffering during this season of economic decline, unemployment, and rising food prices.
Here's how you and your business can be part of the solution. Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor. Just make a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor, and AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you.
It's the best deal in all of Chicago radio.
Just call Anjanette Natowski at 847-472-8951. Again, that's 847-472-8951, or go to 560theanswer.com/food for the poor.
I've been taking Balance of Nature for several years, and I feel the energy level of 27. I endorse it, I believe in it, and I would recommend it.
My name is Barbara, and I'm a registered nurse, and I take Balance of Nature. I really love gardening. I love being outdoors, and I love watching things grow. Gardening is just kind of an extension of enjoying nature. You get the sunlight, you get the breeze, you listen to the birds. It's the whole thing. I believe in Balance of Nature, and I really love it.
Celebrate Christmas with us. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com and get this exclusive holiday offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. You know how people are fleeing Illinois for
Florida?
Florida, Texas, Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina, Arizona, Utah, Colorado, Wisconsin, Indiana, Iowa,
Arkansas,
Missouri,
lots of people,
Kentucky,
Tennessee,
yeah. You know how that's happening?
South Carolina, yeah.
Don't forget South Dakota.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know what? Have you ever been to the Badlands?
I have not. I saw the movie, but I haven't been there yet.
And Mount Rushmore, you definitely need to go that. And I met a wonderful couple from Chicago. They were both police officers. They retired out there.
Okay.
They're living large. Well, no, I'm just saying it's great because their taxes. There's no state income tax.
So Remy from Reason Magazine, who does these great parody videos, he's sort of like the libertarian Al Yankovic because he does videos in addition to the parody songs. Well, he's got an original. Original music and lyrics from one of our favorites, Remy.
Shopping for detergent, but it's all locked up. The tax man and a guy in the alley want to take my stuff. Can I keep half? Yeah. No. Finally get to my door, and I see Rob. That's the moment I discover that I stepped in a human life. And that's why I'm moving to South Dakota, to a freer place that doesn't only view me as a ticket quota. I'm scraping human feces out the treads of my loafer. I wonder if I would be doing this if I lived down in Sarasota or South Dakota. You need a thinner stick. Thank you, Rob. I live in a box. It costs $3 grand a month, with bars on the window so that people do not steal my stuff. The schools are, my kid can't read, but to be fair to the teachers, it is possible that she can't see. And that's why I'm moving to South Dakota, to a place that isn't making me pay extra taxes on my soda. They call it pop there. My bathroom toilets 4 feet from my stove. Oh, I hear it's better in a bunch of other places out in Arizona or South Dakota. As I sang that verse, the schools got worse. How I wish that I could pause it. I get this thought each time I'm robbed and I'm hiding in my closet. I'm moving to South Dakota, California, to a place that doesn't overtax and overticket my Toyota. I just Googled human feces, danger, contact disease, sold a mile over. It's times like these that have folks finding freer places they can go to, like South Dakota or Sarasota.
He's a talented guy. I like that, Remy.
Carry a tune. All right. Thanks so much to Justin Kosick and Quinn McCarthy. Couldn't do the morning zoo crew without them. Have a wonderful day. It's going to be partly sunny, mild, a high of 52 degrees. It's 9 a.m. WIND Chicago.
It's back to court for former President Trump. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. No, not in one of his criminal cases. It's